Welcome to all of our Lieutenant listeners. I just quickly want to go through the challenges that we have going on at the moment. The February challenge market is about learning how to apply and defend against all market states in Infinity. This is one of the most powerful and important skills to learn in the game, and it's something that everyone has to learn how to deal with. Therefore, for the month of February, we want you to play around with either using or facing marker states in Infinity. These can be anything from camouflage, impersonation, hollow echo, anything that counts as a state. Submit your battle reports to lostlieutenant@gmail.com, and each entrance will go into the draw to win a blister of their choice from Toy Soldier Imports. Our quarterly challenge is newly classified. Are you bored with the current classifieds deck? Tired of pulling nano espionage and opting for secure HVT instead? Well, this is your chance to put your creative hat on for the first quarter challenge and design us some new classifieds. Send us your ideas for classified cards, how they work, and the reasons for choosing them. Send them to lossoflieutenant@gmail.com. You can send in one, or you can send in an entire deck, and you'll get additional brownie points if you design the art for the cards. At the end of the month, we'll pick our favorites to build a deck for everyone to play with. A random entry will win a small box of their choice from Toy Soldier's Imports. So good luck. Hold on, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, Val, Val, you're muted.
Oh, I've been muted. That's not good.
Oh, you gave me a freaking heart attack.
1 second. So yeah. So you want to just rewind and I can do that again, or
Fuck it, I'll cut it out. Go.
easy. Um, Hello, listeners, and welcome to another exciting episode of Lost Lieutenant. Tonight, we'll be joined by Ivory. He hails from New South Wales, and he's a new player into Infinity. Ivory actually joined Infinity through, I learned a lot of Infinity through TTS, and he's also attended Cancon recently, playing Vanilla Pano to a very respectable 4th place. So tonight's episode, we'll talk about his experience with TTS, his experience in Real Life Infinity, and Vanilla Pano. So welcome to the show, Ivory.
Thank you very much, Val.
No trouble at all. And obviously, we're, of course, joined by my fellow host tonight as well, Jacob.
Woo!
Yeah, Jacob.
Yeah,
We've kicked out
awesome.
Kevin. He's dead. Gone.
Yeah, Kevin's dead. We've shipped him off. He's yeah, he's to be honest,
he's still playing
he's
strings
lurking in the.
working in the background, pulling the strings from the shadows.
Exactly. We're gonna get baited for all the technical mishaps we've had so far, but we'll be fine. Just before we get into anything, let's just get to know Ivory a little bit. So Ivory, could you tell us a little bit about yourself? I guess, what do you do for work and what do you do for fun? To begin with.
Well, I'm like I like to think that I'm a very typical nerd, very into fantasy, very into sci-fi. I played a lot of D&D. I played some Shadowrun and lots of different other RPG systems. I read a
Right.
lot. And Infinity's my first war game. I first got interested sort of because I got slightly interested in 40k. Then I saw the price tag. And then
Mm.
I meandered my way into Infinity. White Noise and Loss of Lieutenant were actually my onboarding things, but this was like years and years ago. So I lurked for about a year. Then life caught up with me because I also fence a lot, like Olympic fencing.
Mm.
And most of my work is around coaching for that.
Oh
And
wow.
yeah, and I joined back about 9-10 months ago now. And so yeah, ended up sticking with Vanilla Pano after running through a couple factions on TTS, and then yeah, played them all the way up until Cancon, and then did really well there, including out hipstering Val.
Okay, we're not gonna have this debate again. But what I say though is between the fencing and between your look, you could have very well replaced Harry Cavill in the new Witcher as the Witcher, to be honest. Or maybe that's what you're going for. I don't know. But either way, what's his name? It's awesome to have you, and it's crazy that you got into Infinity. You listened to the podcast, Infinity podcast, before even playing the game. That's to me that's really interesting actually. That's so just absorbing
Did,
all that knowledge just.
did you start um like you started TTS through necessity because of COVID,
Oh no,
or
I started TTS because I wanted to play without having to buy a bunch of minis, assemble them, and
okay?
paint them. And also because scheduling in real life is just harder than it is on TTS, where I can just go, hey, does someone want to play? And generally get a game within half an hour.
So did you
Did you?
find TTS and the Infinity mod for it on your onus, or did someone say, "Hey, I know it sucks. You can't get to it. If you
Uh,
want to try it out, buy
okay,
TTS and download the mod."
so I joined the Discord when I started to
Oh,
get back into it, just because it's like, so I joined the Facebook groups for the Global League and also for New South Wales. And then I joined the Discord because I basically did just a general ask about, hey, what is the online spaces for this? And then through there, I just got TTS and I got games in on TTS. And like, I think the Infinity mod for TTS is pretty good, especially and I think Infinity is a game that translates pretty well to TTS. We'll talk more about that later, but I don't really
Absolutely.
have many complaints about the TTS mod.
I was gonna ask, do you watch a lot of YouTube videos or many YouTube videos?
It's this is probably my over competitive and slightly hipster streak coming through, but the only Infinity YouTuber I'm able to reliably sit through is Robert Shepard.
Uh, yeah, no, fair enough.
I
Yeah,
don't,
yeah,
I don't, I don't blame
he'll
you on
enjoy
that.
hearing this.
There's
He'll
there's
enjoy hearing
not
this.
there's not a huge amount of them
Oh, a
on
few,
the
isn't
internet.
there?
There's a
There's a
couple.
decent amount, but
There's like
most of them
4,
are just doing
5,
battle reports.
Yeah.
5.
But
No, yeah, there's 5 off the top of my head. So
yeah,
there's
but
Vol,
there's Vol,
Vol,
there's Fast
Di
Panda,
Fast Panda, Dice Abide, Infinity Gamer,
Gorilla
and
Miniature.
Guerrilla Miniature Gaming. Yeah, yeah, and they're all great content in their own way. But yeah, Rob is definitely the biggest, the
Mhm.
most in depth. And yeah, that's yeah,
Yeah,
I fully
because
appreciate.
I just don't. I personally, I really like the way Rob talks about Infinity, and I think that you guys and Rob have sort of spoiled a lot of other creators for me because
There you go.
you approach
Yes.
the game in
Welcome
a
back
way I really
anytime.
like.
You're welcome back anytime on this podcast after hearing that.
Let's
But actually,
go.
just can we just quickly pause for a second and just commiserate White Noise and how great a podcast that was? Like,
They were
was
such
that
great.
not your favorite? Was that not your favorite podcast? It was definitely my favorite podcast.
Yeah, no, I
Um,
loved White Noise, and I really loved the Rob and Gavin Big Brain Hours.
yeah, and that's hours. That was hours.
Like, I love listening to people smarter than me talk about things. Like,
Yeah.
it's one of my
No.
favorite.
Whatever.
But yeah,
They're dead. Get over it, you two.
yeah.
Oh Jesus, Jacob. All right. Anyway, all right. Let's jump in a little bit onto the next section. What are we doing next, Jacob?
Well, let's try and catch up a little bit. Have we had any? Let's start with Infinity Hobby because I know what you've been doing, Val.
I've been
Absolute
doing
blood
a
bowl
little bit.
hipster.
Yeah,
Mm.
so Infinity wise, I had one game in the last 2 weeks with Taji Boy. I brought Tack Attack I took Tack Attack up to Geelong. Because there's been a lot of people with a lot of opinions about Tack and and about the game in general in Geelong. So one by one, I have to work through them and put them back in their place. So I brought
Let's
I
go.
brought I brought my tack up to Geelong, and the highlight was me and Ty started the game, and one of the things I've been disputing people about is Pavel McManus. I think he's exceptional, like exceptional. Anyway, and everyone's like, no, he's shit. So when me and Ty started the game, I had all these camo markers. I said, Ty, you can have one objective point if you guess which camo marker is Pavel straight off the bat. He failed to guess which one it was, but nonetheless, throughout the game, on turn 3, I had to assassinate his Guija. Pavel McManus went from coast to coast, charging the Guija in the
Yeah.
face,
If-
getting 2 wins on it, and then
there's-
having my Ratnik pop one last one.
if there's one thing that Pavel will do, you look at his profile, and all he is an anti-tag missile. That's
The missile,
right.
absolute missile.
all-
He's so good.
He is. I need one thing dead. All right,
Exactly.
you are dying.
Yeah.
Or dead.
Pretty
He's
much.
so good. He's so good. Anyway, so that was really fun. It was actually a draw 5-all in the end. We played frontline. Taj actually played the classifieds. I played the mission. In the sense that I went the objective zone, so I won like the attrition war. He won the objective war, so it was a 5-all draw. It was a really cool game. I got to test out the Ratnik. I got to test out Forward Reserve, Strelocks, and got to test out Pavel. So all really good things. So yeah, really happy.
What about
you guys?
Ivory? What have you
Well,
done?
I've been assembling my Morats that I took home from Cancon and some other stuff because I really want to get them on the table in person instead of just on TTS. Also, I've just been experimenting and talking with other good Infinity players and my fellow partner in Unga Bunga, Jordan, about Morats.
So you are going from Panda. You are literally going back to Monkey.
Yes, exactly.
Monkey.
I am giving over my camo state. I am giving over most of my shooting. I am picking up smoke and warbands.
That's it. That's what Morats is. Smoke and warbands. And the sooner people realize that, the better
Smoke,
success we'll have.
warbands,
Smoke,
and
Warband, and Veteran.
I
Yeah,
mean, veteran doesn't matter until you come up against Tohar and they get very sad.
Yeah, that's right. Well, no, veteran. Yeah, no, veteran.
What, ignoring
just
loss
like-
of
it's a sa-
lieutenant?
It's
an
great. It's
amazing
huge. It's
thing.
such a fail safe. It's a massive fail safe. No, it's really great.
Yeah.
So, and you're enjoying the Morats just overall?
They are breaking my brain in a way that I'm really enjoying because they're really
Uh,
making me go, like they're forcing me to operate in a space that I'm really not used to operating in, and I can tell this is going to be really good for me as a player.
Exactly right. So that's something I found when you jump from faction to faction. You learn each faction has a strength, different strength in terms of game mechanics, and as you jump from different faction to faction, you hone your skills in their strength, and then you can apply it across other factions that you use, and it's great. Yeah, so you'll get a lot out of it.
Yeah. I was also becoming aware of a couple of crutches I had in Vanilla Pano, which we'll talk about when we get to there, and I wanted to take those out from under me before they became detrimental.
Very, very good. Hear that, Jordan? Yeah, Jordan probably had the same thing with Atalanta. So, what about you?
I unfortunately keep trying to organize games. I have to keep trying to do it last minute, and it's no one's fault that they can't say yes because I keep having plans that fall through.
You should try TTS.
I don't. Every time I've played TTS, it's like 3 to 4 hours worth of sitting down. In summer, which I'm already losing my mind because of the heat, I just can't do it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Just show up on Thursday nights. Actually, yeah, let's do a quick shout out. Thursday nights, House of War. People make it happen. Get on down. Peter's done a massive effort to get us into House of War. They stay open for us. They don't charge us table hire. There's plenty of terrain. Peter's always there. Let's just get on down Thursdays and make a real vibe of it, because yeah, he's done such a great job, and yeah, it'd be nice to get it kicking along again.
Yeah. Also, I've got a question from Kevin. Am I much of a painter or hobbyist? No, I'm not very good at anything artistically related. But I do really enjoy having my stuff painted. Like, shout out to Dan from my locals for the week of Cancon going, no, you need to have your shit painted. You're not bringing silver to Cancon. Come in one one club day, and I'm gonna help you speed paint your shit, and
Oh, mad.
entirely worth it. Like forever
awesome.
shout out
I
to.
mean, I don't want to say it because really it is embarrassing, but Silver Surf.
Oh, I was a
No,
massive
it's
Silver Surfer, and literally until Dan was like, "No, you're not allowed to be unpainted for Cancon." I was like, "Okay."
I was
awesome.
I was really excited. And we'll go through the upcoming events.
Whoever
to
Dan
go
is,
to,
sorry,
go
I just
to,
want to say he's a legend.
to go to one
Oh,
of them.
he is.
Finally had my tack mostly painted up. Like there's still a couple of Silver Surfers, but not too many.
Hey, very
Right.
nice, dude. That's good work.
Can't freaking go this weekend. Something else that popped. Freaking people.
So you're not coming to the slow grow?
We'll see.
Fool.
Yeah, I know.
We'll
I'm
see.
actually really gutted. So let's get in before we.
Sorry, I have a quick.
Oh yeah, go for it.
I just had a really stupid image in my head. Ivory,
Yeah.
what if you get one of your sabers or your fencing swords, right, and then attach
Yeah.
like sticky tape, like a brush to it, and try paint one of your models with that as like practice for fencing.
Oh, that I would be
I do
terrible at that.
eyes. Try do eyes on a model with like the rapier, just like.
Yeah,
It'd be
just
fucking hell. I think
you
that's funny.
see.
That's just an image in my head right now.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Considering that, I think the tip of his, I'd imagine fencing. Will, what do you use? What are
A saber. I use a saber.
You're a saber. Okay. Oh, he's not going to be able to do it with a saber. All he can do is chop it in half.
Hey, saber requires some point control, just a little bit.
Yeah, but you don't have a fine enough point. You're not using a rapier or an epee. You don't have enough point to paint something. Sad.
No, I'd have to be sticky taping a brush to it. But yeah. Also, I'm very much. I don't have an amazing hand. I rely upon being athletic and knowing distance to compensate for my hand.
I see.
So giant leaps across the mat.
I mean, yes.
Well, speaking of things that Thursday and things I want to run on Thursday, we've had one kind of small news drop. We had a cheeky little picture drop on, I think, the Spanish shop. For,
yeah, the Bakunin stuff.
Yeah, for the Bakunin.
Please.
Yeah.
What you may
we
have
can talk about
seen
all the controversy and all the reaction.
is this picture.
I have to say, I'm actually kind of eagerly awaiting the Bakunin stuff because Bakunin was. Yeah, it looks so sick, and Bakunin was very nearly my second army because they're such a versatile sectorial.
I think I'm totally with you there, man. I feel like Bakunin. I remember I had one Christmas where all I asked for was Bakunin stuff. I'm super glad because we now have names for these things. I mean, I haven't
seen the names.
Well, I'll go through
in the Melbourne chat. You're not welcome
for you now. But I am still holding on hope that they are going to keep the Anarchy side of Bakunin and the profiles are still going to be there because as far as I'm concerned, the Riot Girls look great, Taskmasters look great. I think the only Anarchy thing that really needs an update is like the Uberfowl Commando and maybe the
they've
Warlocks.
said that the Uberfowl is definitely getting redone.
But yeah, as well as of course the biggest thing that needs redoing is the Blizzard.
Yeah.
I actually have that tag in a box in my room as well as the Bakunin starter. By the way, they're all in my box of shame.
Yeah, exactly. So it's box of shame, and there's a reason that the Lizard's in there.
I mean, I play vanilla Pan. I'm always pro there being more tags.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll just go quickly. Some of these faces that we're seeing are we've seen before. Some of them are obviously new. Okay, so what we've got here is sort of a mix of old and new. So going left to right, we've got a Reverend Healer, a Reverend Moira with HMG.
You zoomed out a bit for some reason.
Yeah, you just.
Oh no, it's a smaller photo.
Oh, great. Sure.
Yeah, so as I said, we got our healer here in the back. So Reverend Healer, Reverend Moira with HMG, Reverend Moira with multi-sniper rifle. Over
Mhm.
here we've got the Reverend Custodia, which is like your hacker. One of the hackers for Bakunin. And the back here,
Cuts
I
on the
think
out. Something's cut out in that photo.
no, I've done it so that it's all grouped together in one shot.
Ah,
Ah.
gotcha.
Like, that's all the Reverends. I think what we have here, I think the Reverend Repent.
Yeah, cool.
Hold on, I'll just get the actual name up. Remember where it was.
They look fucking cool though, don't they?
Oh, they look
The
so
the
good.
the lighting's great. The paint jobs are great.
Yeah, and the models look really cool.
Yeah, the models look good.
Apologies if you get a Facebook bleep. I have to look.
Yeah, that's all good. But yeah, no. What do you think? What do you think are like the two? So the two criticisms is the fact that they look like MO, which is shut up, idiots, and the other one is they look like Sisters of Battle from GW. Again, shut up,
Okay,
idiots.
so on the MO one,
Mhm.
they look
Sorry,
religious.
Ivory, I'm just going to
not like
interrupt you for 1 second there.
Jacob, we're trying to have a conversation here. For Christ's sake, man.
It'll be Sorry, it is the I think it's the number 5 is the penitent observant.
Okay.
All right, go for it.
So on the MO thing, I think they're much more human than most of the MO stuff. Like, there's not as much power armor, and I think that massively distinguishes it. They both seem religious, but one is definitely knights in power armor. The other is just assorted religious cult stuff. And towards the Sisters of Battle stuff, like,
It's really
it's still,
just because they look like nuns. That's it.
yeah, it's like there's no flying, flaming halos, organ tanks. Like, it's not over the top enough to be.
Yeah,
Wow.
they don't have the what's the French thing that they all have on their face? The fluid or something.
Fleur de lis.
Yeah, they don't have that. So yeah, they're nuns. I get the comparison, but what I really enjoy, like the old Moira SWC box, wasn't horrible, but it is nice to see them brought up to scratch with everything else, because I think most people can agree the Reverend Moiras were always really, really awkward.
Like profile wise or model wise?
Model
mean
wise.
both?
I mean both, but I'm talking model wise right now.
Yeah, gotcha.
They were always just really awkward, kind of like just weird poses, really forced to look a certain way. These are nice. They look like, military people.
Yeah, they look like they're actually doing things.
Yeah.
Can you go right a bit, Jacob? On the thing, on the photo, can you go right a bit? There was one guy that was like running. He looks fucking badass. And I love those helmets that like, show the bottom of the face.
Now, hold on. Okay.
Oh Jesus.
Okay, so next lot we got. Seen this guy before. Nothing special. This is the Sin Eater Observant with or Observer. I don't remember quite how he's said.
So cool.
With
I think it's
a
Observer.
multi. I can't think of it
Rifle,
now.
I think that one is.
Multi sniper rifle. Yeah.
I have to
So
say,
you've cut them all out to individualize them. I get it now. I'm like, why did? Yeah, okay, gotcha. I'm with you now.
I really like his helmet. I think it's really
Love it.
thematic.
I've always liked them. I'm not really sure like how to use them per se because they're so squishy.
Yeah.
But no, they're great. This is a great model. I don't know about the actual profile for the senior, but we'll see what may.
Yeah, for sure. I think it looks great.
So these are the guys that you were talking about, Val, that you absolutely loved, and I like 95% of these models as well. So these are the Reverend Cenobites.
Can we zoom in so we can see
If
it?
I'm right, yep, Reverend Cenobites. And they very much have to give the feeling of like the Teutonic Knights and like the fact that it's a heavy infantry warband.
Yeah, and okay.
I'll have to say one thing just before you go on. I was so glad when I didn't hear someone say that these were the Riot Girls. So glad that there's something else.
Yeah, totally. I would hate if the Riot Girl, like, these feel too generic to be Riot Girls for me.
What? Fuck. They look awesome.
No.
They look awesome, but they look very similar to a lot of other Infinity heavy infantry.
Yeah.
Oh.
They don't look punk enough to be Riot
Well,
Girls.
yeah.
basically.
Hold on. If you take a look at the Riot Girls, I know exactly
Yeah,
what
okay,
Ivory's saying.
yeah.
The Riot Girls with like the fact that
Yeah,
their armor's like the tubing, like the metal muscles is their armor.
Mm. I see what
Um,
you're saying. Yeah.
But yeah,
Gotcha.
clearly, this is some sort of war band.
Like heavy infantry warband.
Yeah, the only gripe I have with this particular model, and I think this is mainly where it looks like Sisters of Battle comes in, is the iron halos that they.
Yeah.
I kind of like the iron as they
I
have.
love it all. I love it all. I
Yeah,
think it's all good.
I'm kind of am in the camp of if I get these, I might cut.
They've
Right.
both got they've both got wielding a sword, so their CC is almost guaranteed to be like 17 or something. So that's great.
Yeah, 17 no CC skills, EM close
Exactly.
combat weapon.
Perfect. Thank you, CB.
I mean,
Yeah.
admittedly, don't forget. I think the moderators have incredible CC.
They do 20. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
sick.
so
That's sick.
I thought they were 18.
No, they're
I just
20.
know
No,
they
they're
have
20.
It's
Shut up,
there's
Ivory. You've been playing the game less than 12 months.
Yeah. It's got
Don't-
para minus
So,
6 CC weapons.
I should say here, what we have here, obviously chain rifle. What do you, seeing as you haven't seen it, what do you reckon that is?
It has to be a missile launcher, doesn't it?
No, I think that's
Either.
I'm pretty sure it's the HRL.
Yeah, no.
Oh, it's either, yeah, it's HRL. Oh, there's a
It's
sword
either
behind that.
It's either a missile
you're
launcher
right.
or a HRL.
That's right. I was like, I thought that was part of the gun. You're right. That's a.
No, it's just a sword.
That's
That's a
a
sword behind it.
That's
So
a sword
yeah,
for the
you thought
penitent.
that sword was part of it. I see.
Yeah.
It's either HRL or missile launcher. I agree.
It could be a Panzerfaust or a Flammenwerfer.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll find out.
Well, from the leak, from what we got from the Maya cast, it's HR.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they look great.
And
They look awesome.
the last, and admittedly probably least, is the Orphans of the Observant. Or Observant. No idea. I'm assuming this is like some sort of line infantry sort of thing.
She's got.
Mm.
Oh, she got the picture. She got a picture there.
Yeah, but
Okay.
that's still something that line infantry.
Yeah, no, almost all the Nomad line infantry have a picture profile.
Yeah, nice.
So this might be sort of, and I can see again. I can see sort of where I wouldn't say that the models look. I go back to the first one. I wouldn't say that the models necessarily remind me of MO, other than the fact that they're vaguely religious. I mean, I find this to be religious. MO, not really. They're just sort of knights.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
I can understand where this feels like the MO release, right? Where you got the big dude, which is like the Holy Knight of Seppuku or whatever his name is.
Yeah, big dudes, some heavy infantry.
Right, yeah. This one really this one really feels like what the Coursiers is that the
Croziers.
Yeah, whatever.
Croziers,
Croziers, yeah.
Whatever. They're light infantry.
Yeah. This makes me think that the Orphans of the Observance makes me think that maybe moderators are going away, and I'm both happy and sad about that.
I mean, did they scuttle order sergeants? They didn't. Did
Yeah,
they did.
Yeah, they did. They're now elite light infantry.
That's right. They are.
They're
very good light infantry.
They are good, but it makes me think that either moderators are going away or are being massively changed, which I think will make the vanilla Nomad's lieutenant question very interesting. Because, like, do they go back to interventors?
Yeah.
Or
good. That would be a nice change, actually.
Yeah.
And seeing CBO in the habit of rebalancing or balancing, or some factions. So they've done CA, they've done ALF. It's only natural that they do.
ALF was more a casualty of the CA stuff than anything else.
Yeah, true. No, that's fair enough. But anyway, yeah, look, they're great. We'll find out more. Bad luck, everybody. Hector's playing Bakunin, so I think we're all doomed. But we'll see. All right. There's also the road bikes or whatever, but whatever. They'll come when they come. Do
Yeah,
you want to go through the events quick, and then we can jump into the main segment?
Yeah. So, as I mentioned before, we have in Melbourne, we have a logo going, a fantastic local Peter. It's at House of.
I'll be the one TOing this time.
All right, well,
That's right.
everybody brush up on your rules because Val's not going to be any.
That's fucking right. You guys have had Peter for too long, and you're gonna learn to appreciate him after I'm done with
It's
this event.
time to be pushed out of the nest, fly on your own.
Exactly right.
Yeah, so it
That's
is
right.
happening on Sunday, 26th of February. So as of recording, the end of this week, at House of War in Ringwood. Costs for the tickets is $20. And the mission lineup is highly classified, supplies, and firefight.
Awesome, awesome. Do you want me to read the next one, or you
Oh, I
want?
was just gonna say, just from what Pete said, it is a beginner-friendly tournament, and he does encourage any sort of veteran players to try and bring in something new, something different, because that's what this entire.
That's right, and I will be checking. And if I've ever seen you at an event with anything that you've run before, you will be disqualified.
Didn't that happen to you when you took ISS?
Moving on. That's true. Yes.
Val, I think, is a master of the school of do as I say, not as I do.
Hey, that's absolutely right. Absolutely right. It's my school. Should I read the next one, or do you want to cover this one?
No, you go for it, man.
Easy. All right. So we also have the ANZAC Cup. The ANZAC Cup is a major annual event organised by Australian Defence Force Wargaming Association. It's been run since 2020 and 2012. They did have a brief period of hiatus through COVID. This is a charity event with donations going to Soldier On, so a very good cause. The event is a casual community emphasis, so prizes are generally via raffle rather than tied to the placings. Some of the game systems that will be happening will be Age of Sigmar, Warhammer 40k, X-Wing, and various historicals. Now, obviously, Infinity will be yes, and Infinity will be there as well. So that's held on the 15th and 16th of April at the Australian Defence Force Academy gym. Now, the Infinity event is the details for the Infinity event itself is Infinity has been a regular feature of ANZAC Cup since the event moved to Canberra from Queensland. Rob Wright will be your TO this year, or Inane Imp on the forums. I believe he's on our Discord as well. So hit him up if you have any further questions. Basically, he did a survey to understand what people want. The overwhelming response has been a 4-match format to maximize attendance. But basically, it seems that be 4 matches. The starting time will be Saturday at 11 o'clock.
Val?
Mm.
Val?
Val? I think maybe.
Oh no.
I think,
I'll finish it off. It's going to be 4 matches.
Cleanly hastified
Val, you're going to have to start again
Val,
from
Val,
2
4
missions
matches.
that we all know, Frontline and Rescue, and then 2 custom missions, which you will find in the, I believe, event pack, or you can just ask for it on the Discord.
Hey-
So it looks like
hey,
there's
Val.
quite a few Melbourne players attending. Whether there'll be a bus or flights, not sure. I think Kevin's organising it, so keep your ear out. If you have any questions about and you're interested in attending, hit up Kevin, myself, or Rob. And they're aiming for 32 players. It's uncapped. The venue does have size limits, so if you want to attend, sign up early, please. And remember, it's all for a good cause. It's for charity, so a lot of the raffles and entry fees will go towards charity. So that's great, and you can fund stuff on Facebook as well. So yeah.
So just to recap what happened when Val
So yeah,
dropped
quite
out.
a bit of a mouthful, but I hope you guys got that.
Just to recap,
and then finally,
what,
Burn City
Val?
Brawl, 5th and 6th of August this year, somewhere in Melbourne. Some costs to be announced and more details to come. I'm sure Kevin will have plenty to say on that. Any thoughts, questions, puts?
Can you hear us, Val?
Val, can you hear us?
Nothing? Frozen.
Val, can you hear
Ivory
us?
frozen or am I frozen?
You're
frozen.
Val.
Point at him. Point at him. Shame.
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 Frozen. I'm frozen.
That's the sound of me typing.
Me too.
Hey. All right, just to quickly recap what was missed when Val dropped out, right? So it is a 4-match tournament starting on Saturday the 15th and not before 11 p.m. So if you guys want to get a little bit messy on the Friday, you might be all right. It's a 300-point ITS format, no mods. There will be 2 custom missions that you'll find out when you get there. And the intent is to provide a standard ITS experience without it being enough different to keep it in. The mission lineup will be Frontline, Sensor Field 2.0, and Kylie Hassified, which is highly classified, as well as Rescue.
Do you mind if I just jump in and say that I've played both Sensor Field and Cloudy Hassified? They're great missions. I really love them.
Is Sensor Field? I'm thinking of something else.
It's also a custom.
Wow, you're alive.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I did the whole read. I thought I did really well, and then I'm like, wait, do you guys have any questions? And then I'll come back to the Discord, and everyone's frozen. I'm like, oh, well, they're having issues, and it was me having issues.
No, I just quickly recapped.
That's cool.
A
Please,
little bit missed. Just for everyone's information, Soldier On is a charity that supports the mental health of veterans and is aimed at reducing veteran suicide. So it's a good cause. It's a cause that addresses a real issue. And so if you have a chance to go, support, have a good time, why not?
Absolutely, no, 100%. Yeah, it's a very, very real thing. So.
Are you guys thinking of coming up?
Yeah, I'm pretty keen. I think the guys have already started organizing in the other chat. I just haven't checked. I've got like 95 messages to catch up on. I will eventually.
Well,
15th to 16th of April. Maybe I will.
Yeah, well, this could be your first chance to regain your honor before BCB, Val, because I'll be going.
You'll be going? All right. Well, it'll be
Yeah.
a grudge round 1, Ivory. So.
All right. Yeah.
One of us is.
One of us. Only one of us may continue.
One of us will be submarining. Yeah.
And just a super quick announcement that Kev and everybody is looking to start organizing Burn City Brawl. At the moment, the only thing that we can confirm is that it's probably going to happen on the 5th and 6th of 2023.
Awesome. That'll be really exciting.
Always looking forward to that. Hopefully I can do better this.
Yeah. Hopefully I don't have to face you this year, Jay, because both last BCBs we faced. First against your bloody it was you.
Oh, it was OSS. It was OSS and then Toha.
OSS and no, didn't I had to kill quick Cockram.
Oh wait, hold on, no, sorry, Kev Finity was. Wait, no, I think OSS was like a million years ago. I don't know why I'm remembering.
Exactly.
You're right. Yeah,
IA, and then exactly, it was fucking. Yeah, I'm done with you. But yeah, do you guys want to have a quick break? I want to make a cup of coffee if that's okay, and then we can talk about Ivory.
Yeah, sure. All good. I'll make myself a cup of tea.
All right, we'll be back.
Do it.
Yep. Welcome back, everybody. We just had a quick break, and now we're going to get on to having an interview with Ivory.
Sweet. Awesome. So Ivory, we're going to get into it. We did prepare a couple of questions just to kind of introduce you. We've obviously asked some, so we know how you get in the game. But I guess to maybe find some common ground with some of our listeners, could you recommend maybe a TV show, book, or video game for our listeners, or one that you've just enjoyed yourself?
I have
maybe all three.
Okay, so I live under a bit of a rock when it comes to TV shows. So, like, the most recent thing that I've probably watched is Inside Job, and I really enjoyed that.
I've not seen that. Okay.
Just also video games. Yeah.
No, go on.
No, Video game wise, I really, I've really been, I'm replaying Hades since Hades 2 was announced, and I've been really enjoying that. Such a good game.
Okay, yeah, nice. Okay, yeah, I
Uh,
love that game.
and on the books front, it's out of frame, but I just look across and there's like this massive bookshelf on my wall. So it's just
Well, can you pan your camera and show off your
uh,
bookshelf? Because books are status symbols. That's what I use them for. I
yeah,
don't read them.
hold on.
I use them as status symbols.
So we got this all
Oh
stacked shelf,
Jesus! Genuine. And you've
including
probably
like
read them
D&D
all,
books and stuff.
right?
Probably a good 90% of them. Probably
Jesus!
not.
Well, that's the opposite. I've read 10% of my books, so there you go.
And then there's that bookshelf
Yeah.
there, and then there's a pile of books that like to be sorted down in that corner.
Jesus. Okay. All right. That's very impressive.
But if I had to pick one, I would
Hmm?
have to go just a general book that I think everyone would love. I really enjoyed The Stormlight Archive by Brandon Sanderson. Great piece of epic fantasy does a really interesting take on its magic, and I really like it.
Oh, what was it? Storm.
The Stormlight Archive.
Thank you very much. All right. Awesome. Well,
And
sure. Hopefully,
we should
listeners
mention
can give their opinions.
the reason that we're talking for Ivory today. No, it's not just
to enjoy my company.
Yeah, well, it's not just that he's great company. Is he provides a really unique perspective on sort of getting into Infinity. That sort of cropped up obviously in the last year with COVID, where a lot of people who played Infinity and TTS, it was like sort of their holdover until lockdowns and what have you ended. We didn't know a huge amount of people who started with TTS. All right, so started with we had obviously episodes where we talked about and there's more than anything complained about what we didn't like about TTS. But Ivory, you've gone from, and we'll talk about it in a little bit, gone from TTS to what Val's been calling and Kevin been calling. I love the name word for it, Skinfinity.
Yeah.
As well as going from that to doing really freaking well in your first Cancon tournament, and then
I mean, there was
having
one victory that I was especially proud of.
Yeah, and then having
Shut the fuck up.
one very peculiar choice, which we'll also talk about in a bit, of taking Pan O. And we'll pick your brain. We'll pick your brain about that in a bit.
Absolutely. Yeah. Look. It is definitely an interesting perspective. But I guess so far from your general experience of Infinity, what are your three selling points on Infinity?
Yeah, especially what brought you, what kept you from leaving it as something you played on.
Okay, one, the community, the Infinity community. As much as we will sometimes rag upon the online space, it's an amazing community. I don't think I've ever been in a better community. Two,
I think especially with Infinity, toxicity is the exception rather than the rule.
The only toxicity that exists in Infinity is the critique of people's tables online. That's the only toxicity.
Yeah.
Then,
but I mean,
we're talking to you. Yeah, sorry, go on. Sorry, we should stop.
Yeah. Second thing would be the order and ARO mechanic. I love it so much, and it's really hooked me. It's why I'm really excited for Warcrow, because at the end of the day, I am a fantasy person more than I am a sci-fi person. But the mechanics of Infinity are just so unmatched that I can't see anything replacing it. But it would be really cool to have a fantasy game with some magic. So I'm a sucker for good magic. So basically, I'm eagerly awaiting Warcrow, and I hope they do magic well.
I was going to ask, Ivory, in terms of CB products, have you tried any of the other games like Aristea, Defiance, anything like that?
I've played Aristea, and I really enjoyed it. And I'm a big board gamer. Like, especially I backed Gloomhaven, I backed Frosthaven, I have Jaws of the Lion. So I think Defiance would be right up my alley. It's just a matter of I haven't really been able to get hold of it. Like,
you'd be an insufferable board game to play with. You just be like really good at like every board game, and then you just fucking min-max it.
No. I'm very shit at the start, but
Yeah.
I pick up things quickly, but then I plateau for a very long time.
Yeah, but you'll be
And
like
then I
one of,
break
you'll be
through.
like one of those annoying guys who's like, oh, I've never played it before. You'll lose and be like, oh, double or nothing, and then just wipe the floor with everybody. You just see numbers, you see the code, and it starts. Anyway,
I can neither confirm nor deny these rumors.
all right. Third thing that you love about Infinity.
The third thing I'd have to love about it is I love CB's. CB as a company is amazing. Their proxy rules, their rules updates, the way they rebalance stuff.
Yeah.
I
Online
will.
support having.
I have to agree with Val that CB is almost the perfect company.
Exactly, I'm telling you, their ambassador's great. Their online tools are great. OTM aside, it's still a free tournament organizing thing.
Yeah.
A free army app, wiki, rule wiki. No, they're fantastic.
Mhm.
They're really, really,
And like,
really, really.
I think the people will shit on CB, but a lot of the people but I feel so spoiled whenever I even look at another game system. I go, where's my wiki? Where's my army app that I can have on my phone?
Yeah, where's all the free stuff that makes it like super accessible?
Yeah, we got it pretty
Yeah.
good, don't we? We got it
And
pretty
also
good.
the proxy rules are mint.
Yeah, exactly right. On the topic of proxy rules, actually, have you utilized them to play any factions to test out any factions like Rob does? Or
Yes.
obviously you've got TTS, right? So you can just do whatever the
No,
fuck you want.
I've done that to test out factions. It's like we'll get to it later, but I think if I have the choice between playing a TTS game or a in-person game with the same person, I would rather an in-person game.
Ooh, okay.
So
Well,
I have used I've used proxies a bit when I was looking for an army to play after Pano, but
then you just happen to win the Morat, so not too bad.
yeah, and
Uh,
but I'll probably be proxying some stuff until I get all my Morats painted up and built.
I was going to ask actually, is there any rule or infinity skill that's been harder to cultivate or get your mind around
Uh,
as a new player?
Using link teams. This is
Okay.
just a me thing. Like, I don't think any real rule gave me trouble, but the hardest skill for me is using link teams well. I really struggle with it. Like, I can't tell you how many Harrises I've lost accidentally or I've slightly misplaced my core.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the use of link teams is just a skill that I find very hard.
Yeah, I remember I used to, when I first started, I used to spread out my link teams, and it's always a problem when you have to sort of Constantine them back together. Always have to do it. You always have to do it over this freaking road, and there's always something watching that road, and you just get obliterated.
Or what about when you spread them out and then they just like pick off the link team leader and then you can't reform the fucking thing and you're just like
Yeah.
fuck.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's a nightmare as well. No, they're definitely a skill. It's definitely a skill issue. So get good. And just the final question, just to dox you a little bit, Ivory. In case any of our listeners want to avenge my honor and challenge you to an in-person game, where is your local?
I'm a Sydney guy myself, so it's like Go Games Town Hall. I keep meaning to trek up to the Combat Company, and yeah, so just Sydney myself.
Sydney City. Right?
Yeah,
Is that what you said?
Sydney
Yeah,
City area.
easy. So what some of your local opponents are Dion?
Dion,
I've been him.
Dion, Daniel, Tomball, Daniel.
Sorry, I just want
It sounds like Val's trying to
trying to set up
it's
jokes.
trying to what's it? Can't remember what's that thing where it's like
He's trying to prove he's better than me by beating everyone who beats me.
Yeah, well, actually, have you played Tomball? I've never actually even played Tomball. Like he's been
I
like a
played
Cancon.
him once in a very strange game of decapitation that we sort of abandoned because we were both a bit dead.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. Yeah, no, he looks yeah, I've been to like 6 Cancons or 5 Cancons with him, and I've never been anywhere near his tables until it's like the painting time. But yeah, so he's yeah, so I'd love to have a game with him one day as well. So no, I'll be
He's such a
interested.
good player. Like,
Yeah,
genuinely an amazing player.
exactly. Um, So, and he's an amazing hobbyist. He's just well-rounded, right? He's just
Yeah.
him and Rob both.
I remember.
He
I
is
think
Tom Bull is the true all-rounder of Infinity.
I remember
Rob's up there.
Tom had these really nice like blue Hollow Man one year at the Cancon.
Oh, really?
Mhm. Like his Econ to Cemento is gorgeous. His Shazvastia,
Dumb.
gorgeous. Everything he paints is just so good.
It's dumb.
Yeah.
It's just dumb. All right, so that's getting to know you. All right, should we just dive into the TTS stuff, Jacob?
Yeah, sounds
Yeah.
good.
Sweet. So yeah, Jacob, you want to ask some questions? We got some utilized, but some pre-prepared or
Yeah.
anything off the top of your head?
So you mentioned I think earlier, but just again, when did you start playing TTS?
Early to mid last year, so it would have been like April to June.
Okay, so is that real? Is that sort of the timeline of, I suppose, till now your Infinity experience?
Yes, like I got a demo a bit before I first got TTS,
Right.
and I watched one game of Morats versus something when I was in like year 11.
Gotcha.
Oh, okay. So right. Okay.
And that is all that I've experienced.
So
in
what? So, but I'm guessing that one game in year 11 didn't leave the massive impression.
It left the impression this game is really cool. I want to get into it.
Yeah.
And then life happened.
So
Yeah.
what did you just decide? Like, how did you get that first demo game?
I did that. Well, that time I was just in the game store looking for some D&D stuff, and I saw a game of Infinity was going, and I'd still been lurking. So I was like, "Oh shit, Infinity game! I'll watch this." And so I just watched it for about an hour. And
Do you remember who your mum or dad was?
Well,
Your
I just
Infinity mum and dad.
I was just gazing in from the sidelines. I didn't
gotcha.
like. I spoke to them a little bit, and I just watched the game, and then I never really spoke to them again. I genuinely do not remember which of the Sydney guys it was. Like,
okay.
it was one of them. Like, one of you would have seen like this weird teenager who walked into one of your games from the Sydney guys
and just watched intently.
Yeah, just watched, asked a couple of questions, and then I sort of didn't do anything with that until it's like I'm in early uni. I've suddenly got like an extra 10 free hours a week that I don't know what to do with. Oh, Infinity was kind of cool. Maybe I should get back into that.
And then, as you mentioned before,
good decision.
As you mentioned before, you joined the Discords and the Facebooks, and that's how you organized your games.
Yeah, and then I got one demo game. I was like, this is fucking sick. That I got TTS that night.
So you got it that night, and then it took you a couple. Yeah, gotcha. Now on the TTS, how did you kind of line up your first couple of games? Were you just asking people for a game, like?
Yeah, I just went looking for group, like looking for game. I just hopped in a looking for game channel and did that.
What was the first faction you kind of started playing around with on TTS?
So at the beginning it was a bit of a split. So first two factions I looked at were Pan Oceania and Combined Army. Pan Oceania because I love some big robots that shoot good, and Combined Army because Protheon was really cool, and also all the tool, basically, and also the aspects really drew me in.
Very, very, yeah, absolutely, yeah, really big drawing pieces, all those models, therefore cool. And
but I was more drawn in by their rules than their models, to be honest.
So yeah, you really deep dive the rules, understand the game.
No, I think I'm one of the few people who's read the Infinity official rulebook cover to cover. Like, I've read the PDF all the way through.
Very, very cool. Okay. Well, actually, so.
But that's how I got ready for my. That's how I got ready for my first game. My first game was I just went on the tram to work. I was just reading the PDF to be like, I just could figure out how this game works, so I don't make an ass of myself.
Oh, really? Okay. I read like N2 and maybe I read N3 front cover to cover, but not, and then a little bit of N2 and N4, just bits and pieces because I kind of have to.
That's an ode to, because this is back in N3, so the rules were a little bit more complicated.
I mean, I did the same in N3.
Yeah. What I'm saying is, it is ode to again CB, the fact that you and I could both read the rulebook trying to figure out how to play the game from that. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I was gonna say on TTS, what was your first tournament? Was it Vols tournament? Was it IGL
No.
or?
I've played one round of a Vol tournament,
Okay.
and then I just had to not do it because of life stuff.
Ah.
The one game I played in a Vol tournament was I took double Jotun and I curb stomped some poor white banner player in the Sval versus white banner tournament he ran.
Very nice, very nice.
Because I just was like, right, the first Jotun kills all your AP stuff. Now you can't kill the second one.
Yeah, okay, that's pretty legit. Nicely done, nicely done.
Cool.
Sam, and I guess in terms of the TTS and online space, what have you kind of utilized to kind of improve? I guess is it just reps or is it speaking to like some of the
Okay.
top tier players? Yeah, go on.
So I think so. I'm going to split this question into two. One, what I think the advantages of using TTS to improve are, and two, what I've used. So, first of all, the first advantage I think of TTS is the sheer number of games you can get in. Like, there was a period where I was getting at least 2 games a week solidly for like more than a month. So, like, going into my first game with Dion, I realized that I'd had as many games as him in my Infinity career as he'd had in about a year and a half, just because of the reps that TTS lets you get.
Wow. Yeah, that's significant.
Because I was something like 20 games in by that point, and I've been playing for like 5 months.
Yeah, and having them all in such a close space as well, it keeps it right
Yeah.
front of mind, right?
Secondly, the watermark of players when you can play basically everyone is so much higher. Like, imagine if you could just call up like Rob Cantrell or Lockie Carter and just go, "Hey, you want a game? Sure,"
Val,
and then get your
Tristan.
curb stomped by them, and then learn from that.
Yeah, for sure.
Like I probably played 3 or 4 games against Lobo, and he just utterly kicked the shit out of me.
Really, every
But it was
time?
always a really, like, he is a Rob Cantrell level player.
Very interesting. Yeah, I've always, because obviously you see some stuff online. I'm always tempted to play some like those top tier players, but just don't have time. Or the mains.
Yeah.
And it feels like, and it feels wrong, kind of just like call them specifically out. Okay, so reps to improve and playing higher tier players. Yep.
Yeah, and also the fact that you can just run whatever you want. You don't need. It's like it's not like, oh, I don't have enough S3 or S4 bases for this, or these are confusing proxies. The access to high level players, the access to profiles, and the access to games are the 3 big advantages I feel with TTS. And for me, the way I improved was just those high reps, but also getting to consume Infinity media by people who understand their shit, and talking to people outside of games, during games, and after games. Like,
yeah, okay. Yeah, that's a really good point. In person games, that's where a lot of people improved when I was early on, where you have a game on your casual night, right? And then after the game, you debrief even if you lost or won, right? You debrief with your opponent how it went, right? And then your opponent can be like, you know what? I was actually, even though I won or whatever, I was finding what you were doing here really tricky, or vice versa, right? And that's how you learn. So the same sort of thing happens on the online space, which is cool.
I know how it is in. Sorry, just quickly. I know how it is in real life. Did you find with that sort of advice? Did you find you had to ask for it, or was it volunteered?
Okay. If it was just a pickup game, and especially if the player was more experienced than me, it was generally volunteer.
Yeah.
But I would generally ask for it, especially in a tournament. I'll generally ask my opponent what they thought, and I'll talk to my opponent about that, and that sort of thing.
Okay, nice. That's really good. And obviously, there's a desire to improve, so that's there as well. So
I'm very competitive.
Yeah.
Like, it's a bit of a problem.
Are you competitive in the sense but is the most enjoyable part to you about the game winning, or is it about just problem solving and? Yeah.
I want to do better. I want to make less mistakes. I want to be pleased with how I played.
Gotcha. Yeah, but how pleased you are with how you play isn't always isn't determined by whether you win or lose, though.
I would rather a good hard fought loss where I didn't make mistakes than just I had the gear check, you did not have a solution to the gear check. I just beat you to death with the gear check.
Exactly right. No, for sure, and that's why losing my game to you really like water off a duck's back, really. To be honest, I'm well over it.
Yeah.
just it's only like been 3 months.
Well, we're not going to come into your house one day and just find like a list
Just
written
hire
in
me.
blood, are we?
Just like a shrine to me with like
Well,
my
no,
eyes
I
all
know.
pixed
I'm
out.
more thinking if you remember Steve Buscemi and Billy Madison.
No, I mean, no, I don't remember that. But I guess I could have it just like I don't know. I could have like I don't know all sorts of things like broken sabers, elephants without tusks, like all sorts of things.
Yeah.
The whole. Actually, so just on but with TTS, so what are some of like the really charming features of TTS? What are some of the features you enjoy? Like one thing that comes to mind for me with TTS is the the maps. The maps can like using interiors and being able to use interiors
Mm.
of buildings.
Okay.
That's really cool.
So I really like the TTS order panels are spectacular. They just make it so easy to understand, and I love being able to color code groups. That is like the really big thing for me. Like I've gone so far as considering buying 2 colors worth of tokens so I can just color code all my stuff. Just so I can like, all right, everything with a blue thing next to it is group 1, everything with a red thing next to it is group 2.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, and it makes it easier for both players, right? Because the open information that exists in the game needs to be as accessible as possible for both players for it to be useful.
Yeah,
So
like,
hence the.
Yeah.
No, that's for sure. No, what about one thing one thing that's interesting in TTS though is with the buildings in the same vein that I like the fact that there's buildings and they're easy to use. But the verticality of the buildings adds how to explain this? It adds like it makes the table bigger. So if you have too many big buildings to climb, it makes the map or the terrain quite a lot larger. So like if you have to scale up buildings, obviously it like
Yeah.
almost expands the map from 48 by 48,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
No, definitely. I have found. Okay, I think this is a bit of a hot take here,
John?
and like I'm prepared to be flamed for it.
Okay, let's do 21.
Real life tables are more consistent than TTS tables in their playability.
Go on, expand.
Okay, I actually I'm just gonna make a quick clarification on that, just because of my experience with some tables. When you talk about playability, you're talking about how in TTS you can have sort of almost too much buildings, or like it's too weird of a buildings. You're not talking about the buildings themselves, because I've had ones where they were completely broken and I couldn't like have a dude on a bridge because if I got rid of the bridge, he just fell down. So you're not talking about that.
No, I'm not talking about like functional playability. I'm talking about playability from a gameplay perspective. Like there's a bunch of tables that they're just art projects. They don't play a good game of Infinity. And there are so many TTS tables are far too dense.
Yeah, I remember.
Moving on to a question. Yeah, you go.
Oh, I was just on your point. I remember there was a table I looked at once that was like, I think it was supposed to be an Ariadne base or something like that, and it was like cut in half. So it was this weird like underground thing. So it's think of a 4x4 table, but then you're also playing on a 4x4x4 cube.
It's it's too big. Yeah. So so go on. Ivory, you were saying
there's a question later. Did like I have any weird habits from TTS? I was taking so many templates and so many chain rifles, just because the tables on TTS they do definitely skew much more too dense.
So you think that they skew so far that they've affected the profiles and selection of the units?
Oh, entirely. Like there is a clamoring voice saying that Varuna is just not good on TTS. Like, and as you guys are mainly in-person players, what would you say if I said OSS and Varuna, they're just not good? What would your responses be?
I'd say get off the internet. No, I honestly.
But that is the genuine conception.
Yeah,
because of
you'd almost so on TTS, SMGs and multi rifles feel a lot more powerful than they do in real life.
I would say that more than a third of tables I have played on, I could get a Krakot Renegade into template range with my opponent, who
Right.
hasn't made major deployment mistakes.
Jesus, really? That okay. I have to come. I have to play some TTS sometime. We might have to play some
It's
TTS
getting
sometime.
better. It's
Yeah,
getting
for sure.
better.
Sure, yeah.
But yeah, it definitely skews much more towards dense in a way that I think is counter to CB's intent with Infinity because of the way they have priced long range weapons.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Because it skews the formula. Like, my friends got it. So we've played on bug hunt tables, and like they're really fun. But they definitely skew the formula to reward those template weapons too
Mm,
much. No, that's really interesting. Okay, cool, gotcha. So yeah, between the command panel and the ease of use and
yeah.
the accessibility to lots of factions, those are some of the best parts. Now, what's been really easy to translate from TTS to meet to in-person Infinity, and what hasn't?
Almost all the skills are quite easy to translate.
Yeah, so it is transferable. Yeah, me and Kevin were having
Yeah.
discussions. So go on.
The only thing that's a bit hard, eyeballing distances is really weird on TTS.
Yeah.
So and also because there is grid squares in deployment, they sort of like sometimes you'll just remember vague grid
Yeah.
square differences, and then that's just
Then
like,
you
yeah, I know
utilize
how far that is approximately.
That
What
said,
So
about you?
that said, I can't tell
I'm
you how many times I've played on a particular table and the way they've put it together has the tiles. So that does happen in real life as well.
That's true.
yeah, but no, but what I'm saying is it's meant that I'm not great at eyeballing distances.
So,
Like
Okay.
that is that I think, apart from my issues with league teams and some of the crutches that I have, my biggest flaw as a player is I'm just not there with eyeballing distances yet.
You got that grenade launcher just right, though. I'm just
I
saying, you got it
mean,
just right.
I
That's
mean
32
that's
inches.
your fault, not mine.
That was pretty fucking. Oh, jeez. Now,
um,
okay, so the eyeballing the distances. Okay, yeah, that's yeah, that's really important, I guess. Obviously, the command, the commands, the zone of control checks probably help a little bit.
Oh yeah, no. So I think the zone of control checks. This is definitely not me being biased. I think they're a great thing for Infinity. They're perfectly balanced.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, but I do genuinely think they're good, just because I don't know. I don't like the idea that oh dear, I'm 8.1 inches away. I was trying to hack you. I get shot to death.
Yeah, that's just silly, right? It's just like, yeah, it's
Or
yeah.
I think I'm in 8. I'm gonna declare a dodge with this camo marker. Oh, I'm out of 8. I'm just revealed for no reason.
yeah, exactly right. Yeah, I started with an 8 of that mine. I didn't realize. Yeah, it's just whatever.
Toughen
No,
up,
absolutely.
princesses. No,
Jacob comes from
I'm in
from
two minds about that. I get why it's like that, but I do miss the old days of having to guess.
Yeah.
Jacob comes from the hard knock school
I
of
mean,
Infinity.
I think my counter to that, Jacob, though, is it is a very minimal difference for experienced players, but it really punishes players within their first 6 months of Infinity.
Yeah, look, like I said, I know why it's there. Like the N4 to N3 for me, for the most part was a quality of a life improvement more than anything. We didn't really lose anything. We just got the game was faster. The game was the game was faster. The game was less confusing.
Better.
It was better. I just like to say it because I do miss a couple of things from N3, but not enough to really rail against N4.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And moving on to like talking about, I think different versus better, I think is an important thing to bring up.
Yeah, go on.
I think the game itself is a better game on a real table, in person, because you get to talk to people, you get to have your models in your hands, which is so good. You get the fun of rolling dice,
Mhm.
and it's generally tends to be shorter.
Mm.
But, and I say
But
but the logistics of TTS are so much better than Meat Space
yeah.
Infinity.
Yeah.
Not having to bring a table, not having to set up a table, not needing like making sure you got all your tokens and that and that and that and that.
Mm-hmm.
being able to play with any and every army, and not needing like the 12 sundry purchases which you need to make the wargame function.
Yeah, because
Like
you forget that Infinity
also the
is,
ability to turn every model into its silhouette. I should have mentioned that in like the best things about TTS.
TTS, yeah, that's really
Yeah.
nice. Isn't it?
It's fucking amazing.
especially when you're able to make it into a clear cylinder.
Oh yeah, you can see through them. Oh, I forgot that. Yeah, that's amazing.
So long as you just
Yeah.
make them two different colors on each other's side. Yeah, no, that was
Yeah.
when I discovered that. I'm with you with the color coding. The fact that every time I had a second group, I just had a green group and a red group.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. That was
There's pros and cons to both, I guess. But
Yeah.
yeah, the in-person one's nice. I don't know, like I don't know. It also feels like you've kind of gone and done something, and when you go out on a games night for Infinity,
Exactly.
so that's nice because otherwise in the TTS,
It feels much more personal.
I think that is the main difference between TTS and playing in person. Playing in person is an event like going out to dinner or a movie or something like that.
Yeah.
While as in playing TTS is you sitting down to play a video game.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I was gonna say, so the skills are transferable. That's great. Like I play you, I face you. Like you were well on top of your game, and like you've only been playing 9 months and mainly TTS. So I knew the skills were transferable, but yeah, you've confirmed that. Now what about hobby? Do people do much hobby in TTS? I think I know some of the answer. What about you?
Okay, there is not hobby in the same way there is in-person hobby. That like some people will upload their miniatures as 3D renders so you can play with 3D models, but there is a table building community that I'm not part of. There is a Blender community that I'm also not part of because I'm not artistically inclined.
Yeah, okay.
And there is also hobby competitions that are organized through the online stuff. But there is not a hobby. There is more hobby in the in-person side of it by far, just because it's a lot harder to upload your models than it is to paint or convert your models. So there is more people that play it. There is more hobby in person just because of the ease of doing that hobby.
And big shout out to Vol SC, by the way. He's the one who founded the ability to bring 3D renders into.
Yeah.
Big shout out to him again.
But yeah, it was
Okay.
unfortunately, I think the other thing with 3D renders is that they never quite bring out the paint look like.
Yeah, like
you mentioned blenders. So have you seen any of those? This is more of curiosity, I suppose, for me. How well do people are people at putting together those blender models for?
they're not bad. They're at the point where I'm a newer player, obviously. People, it's like when people 3D print and paint, it is close to an Infinity model if the print was good and the paint job is good, then it gets close. You'll probably be able to tell if you actually take a good look at it. And there's much more onus on a good paint job than it is with an Infinity figure just because of detail. But they're not bad. They're not bad at all.
That's really cool. And it's cool that the fact that there is like a little community that make tables and stuff like that as well, and yeah, there is some artistic I guess outlet in the online space as well.
Also, there's a lot of custom HVTs online, which I think is cool.
That's really cool, actually. I was gonna say, what about playstyle differences? So between the players that you've played in the physical space and people who play online, is there a difference, I guess, in the way they play, the units they use, or the profiles they gravitate?
So as I mentioned earlier, there is more of a tendency to closed-in tables. So there is more of a tendency to stuff. There is more of a tendency to Spitfire range bands and below. Whereas I think you get punished more for not having that threat out to 32 on a real table. So that's the first thing. Second thing, I think the bottom of the barrel and the midpoint are higher on TTS because you get less social / hobbyists.
So you're referring to the caliber player there.
Yeah, the average player I would say is slightly better. But I think I think there is much more of a plateau between a decent and a good player on TTS, where I think there's much more range in person. And I think the best, at least from my experiences, are comparable.
Nice.
So then, okay, so also, this is a very interesting thing I've noticed. There is a massive preference in the online community about first turn, and I have an opinion on this as to why. I do not think the actual preference is as big as the perceived preference. So it's twofold. One, as Rob Cantrell loves to say, in any unsolved system, you will learn to attack before you learn to defend. So there is a lot of these mid-table players, they are learning to attack. And also attacking in Infinity it's a much more repeatable skill. It's much more table and opponent agnostic than defending is. And it's also much easier to parry. When Lobo applies guided missiles, then an Uberfall and kills half your list turn 1, it's much easier to parrot that in your own game against people of your own skill than using his list, which is so hyper aggressive, to actually defend. And he obviously does it, and that's why he won several IGLs with Nomads. But there's a reason that, other than him, Nomads very rarely placed well, because everyone was playing his list, and his list is very dice rolly.
Right. That's really interesting. That's a great observation. That's a great insight. You're absolutely right.
So TTS creates very offensive players in that standard deviation. I think there are a lot of players who can attack at least 30% or something better than they can defend.
That's like Jordan, to be honest. I think. Jenna, I'm not even taking shots. It's true.
Yeah.
Jordan's learned to attack really well with his ALF, and he's had a lot of success. But I don't know defending wise in terms of his deployment. I think he's really good at that part as well. But in terms of, I think if you had to choose one strength over the other, I think I'd say his attacking game is very solid. And I think his defensive game is good. But
I think I'm pretty unique in that case, is I learned to defend much significantly before I learned to attack. I've just even when I was going against those really great players, it would be I wouldn't be doing enough damage in my active turns, which was more tripping me up than my reactive ability.
It's really interesting. Yeah, look, I think defending, and I've been saying this for a while, that's the hardest skill in Infinity. Being the right.
I agree, but I think I definitely agree, but for me it was definitely controlled aggression that was harder than defending.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. For me, it was defending. I'm not a very good alpha striker. That's something I probably need to improve on. But defensively, I think I'm decent as a player. But attacking is definitely my weakness. Which is so that's. But in terms of in terms of feel bads, getting alpha struck is a feel bad, and that's something I wanted to overcome. And that's why I focused on the defensive aspect.
Yeah.
But your insight into the TTS community and what you think might be the sources for people gravitating to first turn, that's actually really great insight. That's actually really interesting.
I'm not trying to deny that first turn is strong. It is definitely strong. I think everyone would agree with me that having the opportunity to alpha strike is good. I just don't think it's as overwhelmingly dominant as a lot of online players say.
I agree. I think a lot of the missions are geared well enough to favor second turn to make it a little bit to make it pretty even. And what you were saying is going for attacking is table and army agnostic. Is that what you said? Sorry, it was table.
It's more table and opponent agnostic than defending.
Right.
Because getting to the order generators with a bear pove is pretty much the same unless you're facing Toha.
That's true. No, exactly.
Or
that's really
whereas defending Pano versus defending Hakizlan versus defending CA versus defending Aleph, they're completely different kettles of fish.
Awesome. Right. So to summarize, the difference you found between online Infinity and in-person Infinity is that the majority of players online find first turn and gravitate to first turn because of, I guess, the tendency of how they've learnt to play the game a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a pretty bad summary, but yeah. Okay, that's really interesting. Are there any other differences that you find between the two? Or
Uh,
actually surfing. What about surfing? You know what? So measuring on TTS is very precise because you can't really surf, right? Because you do
okay.
the measuring tool.
There is sometimes some surfing with corners, but that's about it.
Yeah, but in person, I think surfing's a lot more common, and it's kind of like it's one of those like niggly things where both
It's like,
players can kind of be
yeah, it's
guilty of
like,
it, especially when there's a
oh,
time.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think the same thing can sometimes slightly happen on TTS. Like maybe you go zero point 0.1 inches too far,
Yeah,
which is
that's
like,
Yeah, but it's always gonna be like really negligible in
yeah.
yeah,
In person, you
TTS,
can usually get
whereas in
inches
you
easy.
might get half an inch in
yeah,
in real life, but at the same time, it's the difference between having a computer play part of the game for you and just being a person.
yeah.
I mean, I can't
Have you found much surfing in person, or is it just against me?
Uh,
you a
Not
dirty cheater, Val.
really.
I'm a dirty cheat. No, you haven't.
I
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I'm also like I'm very good at tunnel visioning, like so I'll just be looking at the game and maybe I don't notice something, but I've never really found surfing to be much of an issue.
That's great. No, that's a good thing.
Like people have forgotten how fast something moves, or they've forgotten that they had to move, then move if they're like rounding a corner.
Yeah,
But
that's around the corner with big bases. That's my only kind of like pet peeve
Yeah.
with surfing. People just like kind of wrap the measuring tape around. I'm like, well, hold on, you got like this 40 mil base, 55 mil
Yeah,
radius.
exactly.
Like,
that's something I notice, and sometimes I just depending on how the game goes, where
Like
they're
yeah.
like I just move this way, like
Like
it's
okay, yeah.
you got a bike, and so if you go around a corner perfectly with a
You
bike,
have to go around.
you lose 2 inches off your movement.
Yeah. You have
for
to
the
actually go out and then
yeah,
forwards.
for the most part, like a couple centimeters, a couple of inches here and there doesn't make a difference. But when it comes like to type measurements, what I do is I get like the what's its name, the the order tokens. I'll lay
Yeah.
them out base to base if it starts getting like if it's a really important situation, and then you can get exact measurements. That's how I
But
do it.
we need to get
Yeah.
the old measuring tool.
Yeah. But no,
Um,
that's awesome. Okay, that's a really yeah, that's awesome, interesting. What's your views on the balance of the game actually?
I think the game is very well balanced.
Full
Like,
good.
I
Yep.
genuinely think if we got no more balance patches for Infinity, I would still be happy playing the game for years and years. I have my own personal niggling issues and that sort of things and stuff that I think would make the game better if it were changed.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not like, oh, this is so unbalanced. It's like I would prefer, like, I wish TI didn't affect non-lethal ammo. Uh, and I could. I wish the Janstar trick didn't exist. I wish impersonation specified you had to deploy in marker state.
I
But
mean,
Yeah.
like,
Okay.
but apart,
I'll defend the Janstar trick by the fact that it does cost a lot to do.
It does.
yeah,
It's a
it
huge
just
cost.
it's more to me. It just seems like a silly edge case. Like I am infiltrating your lines as your enemy.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I
it's
see. So
more.
you kind of break that
It's more.
immersion.
It's more like it seems thematically kind of stupid to me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I got what you're
Okay.
saying.
Yeah. Look, you make a good point, but the game's balanced anyway.
Mm. Yeah,
The
the game is unironically the best balanced game that I have ever played since like fucking chess.
yeah,
And,
exactly right.
and
Actually, you know what's
you know what?
oh, sorry.
I've never got to say this episode on Lost of the Tenant. I just wanted to say quickly is Infinity is is obviously a very balanced game, and it's all due to the fact that CB sat down and said we're going to make a massive set of universal rules
Exactly.
that give us enough bits and pieces to play with that we can make like how many armies? 7, 8 armies feel completely different.
Exactly. Like, and this is why I'm so hesitant to adding unique rules to Infinity.
Oh
And
yeah,
which I think, and the majority of the feels bads in the game are of unique rules
Unique.
because the more moving parts you have to balance, the weirder the game gets. And it's why when Kev was talking about factional classifieds, I just thought that's a horrible idea.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
gonna,
No.
it's just an extra thing CV is gonna have to balance, and they're gonna try and use it to balance, and it's like,
Yeah. No. You're absolutely right. There's like the like what Jacob said. Like they've made a core like foundation of mechanical rules, and then they've branched on from that very carefully without going, oh, we'll do a little bit like there, a
yeah.
little bit there.
I mean,
Um,
for Christ's sake, we're able to do. If you remember a couple of years ago, we're able to do the oh, what's it called? The one where you picked random profiles from different armies.
oh,
the
you got to do
draft.
that draft.
The
thing,
draft, yeah, able to do a
Oh,
draft.
I want to do that so badly.
Right in Infinity. I don't like. Could you imagine doing that in like Warhammer
40K?
or anything? The problem is it just wouldn't work because there'd be
Yeah.
rules that you just couldn't use anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah, interesting. I see what you're saying. That's
Like,
interesting.
I would love there to be like an Infinity draft that done like you'd all sit down, you'd draft like you drafted like 20 units, wasn't it?
It would be fun, but that'll be You need like a pretty tight knit community. I think the only person who can probably pull that off is Josh Tyth. I was talking to him at Cancon about his gaming group, and they sound fantastic.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, yeah.
I was gonna say, what about profile diversity between in-person and TTS? Have you noticed on TTS, like there's set a whole bunch of profiles that you see from list to list
Mm.
that you
Okay.
might not.
I suppose
see.
outside, short ranged, and template.
Yeah. All right. So if we move away from like types of units and we go into units specifically, TTS to me feels more like Infinity, but with the vague trappings of playing a trading card, where there is certain stuff that is just. So I played a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh back in the day, and in a Yu-Gi-Oh deck you have your engine cards and your non-engine cards. And your engine is like the core of your deck. It's what gets your engine running. And I think TTS, there are things that are common more often, but there is, I think, more weird personal touches.
Okay.
So and you also see more meme lists on TV, or just weird lists because of availability.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a core set of profiles that you will basically always see. Like you'll always see Bit and Kiss. You'll almost always see Sheskin and Shaz.
Really?
Stuff.
That's
like,
an interesting one. Sheshkin and Shaz.
Like let's see what else. I've never seen anyone who can take for days not taking for days on TTS.
Nomads, you see,
Nomads. Nomads is always tag, Uberfall, some hackers, guided missile remote, Morans.
How do you stop a heckler? TTS. Have you guys worked out how to stop a heckler from getting the thing?
You accept you're going to lose a couple of things, and you make it so that your list doesn't lose if one thing dies.
What about mines? Mines.
I mean, you can also do it with a reserve deployed Libertos, but it's like it is the hardest. It and Bit and Kiss are the hardest thing to stop in game. It's more you have to respect that there is enough in the game that if there is one thing in your list without marker state, which will kill your list, enough opponents can kill that
get
thing.
to it. Okay, that's really interesting. Okay, right.
So
and that drives list. What about faction wise? Is there any faction that's predominant on TTS or
I think there's this skew towards one, meta factions, and two, closer range factions do better.
Okay, that is actually interesting because I think you see in person, people fall. At least, I mean, hell, Val, you're a brilliant example of someone who has fallen in love with a particular faction.
There are definitely
regardless
the one faction players, but there are less of them.
What I'm saying is like there's I can see in TTS there might be a bit more meta chasing than
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
than,
definitely.
than in real life, because in real life on TTS you just drop the faction, play the meta faction that stays the
Yep.
meta faction.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
You
Then
press
you
like
just come
20
back.
buttons, you've changed faction.
Yeah.
Well, Taj is a meta chaser. He's stopped playing TAC just because he's scared of the censor bots. So
I mean, I wouldn't call White Banner very meta though.
Oh well,
I wouldn't
hold
call
on.
Taj a meta chaser either. To be honest, I'm just trying to.
I can definitely see where he's coming from. I think for TAC, this season is a difficult season to start playing TAC for a little bit.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I disagree, to be honest.
Well, no, sorry, I should say it can be a difficult season. I've been
Yeah.
playing TAC and I've been finding it chef's kiss,
Yeah, awesome.
a lot of fun.
Well, my opinion is like censor. I genuinely, because there are generally less camo markers, I think censor gets less value. It is nice to have,
Nice to have.
but I think it is more expensive camo units that fear censor, and tax camo is cheap.
It is cheap. Yeah,
You know
exactly
what?
right.
That's a good.
Like,
no, you're right.
So
like being able to censor sweep a hack Tau is scary. You censor sweep one of my Strelocks. Okay, anyway.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, go for it.
Well, I was just saying. So I mentioned at the top that at least I've found your choice of Cancon army, given the fact that this year's Cancon was pretty mission rolling, like dice whip check centric. Rather interesting choice in vanilla Pano.
Okay.
So
Pano is no longer the bad at objectives factions.
Okay.
Ever since Varuna came out, then ever since Sval came out, then ever since duos were added, then ever since ITS 14, Pano can do objectives now.
I've got a CBA game design.
So what talk to me like I am exactly what I am, as someone who hasn't paid enough attention to the changes to Pano. What changed with Varuna and Svalbard whatever they are?
Svalheim. So, one, Varuna gave you Zulu Cobras, which is marker state hackers or marker state forward observers with some forward deployment, and they can also fight reasonably.
And the Whip 13, which is decent for
Whip 13, and they get mission bonuses. Mission bonuses also really helped Pano.
Yep. Okay.
Also, the MO rework Knights of Santiago hackers, amazing. Sorry, let me just pull army up quickly.
Go for it. So I'm just gonna. So I think what he's gonna talk about is the marker state units in Pano. But yeah, sorry, Ivory's gonna bring it up. But so Knight of Santiago Killer Hacker, is that what you're referring to?
Yeah.
The drop troop or the deploy one?
I don't get the drop troop. I play vanilla, but the drop troop is also amazing. But the easy one's also good.
That was my main button pusher in MO as well.
Yeah.
So
also, like, you've also got Kahu. You've also got Uma Sorensen. The fact that Aquila got a specialist operative profile.
Yeah. Okay.
Montesa paramedics, Teutonic Knight specialists. Tags are all specialists, and tags getting more orders, and Pano getting good active lieutenants and good NCOs means that the fact that you don't get good infiltrating specialists hurts less. It's easier to include specialists.
You got that auto efficiency.
Yeah, and also, and also the fact. So when I say Pano, what do you immediately think?
Cutter, Kahu, not hexes anymore, but hexes. I used to think hexes.
Yeah.
Teutons, auxiliaries, and pacemakers. There you go. That's off the top.
All right. What do you think? What about you, Jacob?
Antennas.
Yeah.
Their helmet.
Well, but like
antennas on their helmets.
So, but like what you were speaking about, Val, is you were thinking about the high end of shooting, right? But I would like to. But I think one of my theses on Pano is their high end shooting is great, but the real uncut gem of Pano is their efficient shooting. It's like they need their top end shooting, but no faction gets as good access to toolbox guns, secondary gunners, and just other options for shooting.
Are you
Like a
talking?
second.
Are you sort of
yeah,
talking
nice.
about the Pathfinder or the?
No,
Sorry,
I'm more
not the
talking about
Pathfinders. The
Volunteers,
Peacemaker, the
no,
Bulleteers.
Peacemaker is a pseudo warband. It's like Bulleteers, Knights of Montesa, all the MSV
Okay.
mimetism, medium
BS13,
infantry. Yeah,
BS13,
BS13 being like
yeah,
everywhere. BS12
Vargas,
average. Yeah.
yeah, gotcha.
Mimetism BS12 is high end, is like mid to high end for a lot of factions. We just get engineers with that.
Yeah, Locust, Killer Hackers,
Yeah.
with that, MIM6, BS12,
Mm.
Marksman Rifle,
So
yeah,
while a lot of our cheap defensive pieces, they can cost a couple points more, and our specialists can be a bit more expensive.
Hmm?
Basically, everything in the army can also be a backup gun, on par with some factions' great gunners. Like,
That's a really
how
good
many
point.
how many factions would fucking salivate over John Hawkwood?
Yeah,
NWI Shock Immune, Mimetism BS13, Red Fury.
sounds like Lay Gone.
I
He's awesome.
I didn't like including him because he didn't feel good enough at shooting
That's crazy.
for his points value. So, and I want to bridge from this into talking about vanilla Pano versus sectorial,
Okay, go on.
because I want to go on record and say that vanilla Pano is the second strongest way to play Pano behind Acon to Cemento. Like,
Ooh, go on.
like about the Infinity tier list, Rob Shepard has a lot of good to say. He criminally underrated vanilla Pano.
Okay.
Ooh, take that, Rob.
So what elevates Shock Army above vanilla?
Okay, what Pano really does lack is its hacking game,
Yep.
its hacking projection, its midfield specialists, and ways to punish a null deployment.
Yeah. Okay.
Duoing a Tikbalang with a Montesa paramedic, the regular being the best line troop in the game, access to Nagas and Dart, and a pitcher in Scylla, and also fast pandas on regulars.
Yeah.
Is just amazing.
Yeah, okay.
Also,
Okay.
yeah. Also, what vanilla? So, like there is this whole talk of Pano is shooting and sectorials just give you more gun. Not anymore. The best active turn shooting in Pano is their tags by far.
That's 15.
I mean, I get the feeling that tags have always, even when you had
yeah, but
like
it's more the
fighting
tags got
bonuses.
way better.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Is tags have always been scary, and they only got scarier.
Yeah. So I think what you really trade by leaving vanilla Pano is one, specialist accessibility because you can't make Harrises, and two,
efficiency.
direct reactive firepower. And now I think
So just to take like a step back, obviously Harris with the specialist, you're able to push out with those small units. What's the reactive firepower that you're talking about?
You don't get burst 2 in an arrow.
Yeah, you don't get actual arrow pieces. Like you can put tags out, you can put TR-bots out, you got Helots, but like that just doesn't. Yeah, flash pulses. That doesn't compare to this. Even an impure Kamau, even a pure Fusilier, like you can't stand something up to contest in the same way.
The only thing you've got is like you have to rely maybe on a TO TO surprise model to kind of really pull the handbrake on the deal.
It's even that's like Fusilier cores are so scary. I pay like 60 points. I get burst 2 BS 15, and I get hackers and lieutenants as part of it.
I remember when I was playing Steel Phalanx. I remember a guy playing NCA, and he had a Fusilier a team. I remember doing the math in my head, going, "This is not a good shot." Like, even with my ODD, these guys have such good shots that because they had a missile launcher standing up. I was like, I need to get into his bad range, otherwise I probably will not win this shootout.
Exactly.
Yeah, I fucking love your take on the secondary gunfighters and they're unrivaled. I'm just
Mm,
thinking of knocking Locust, Vargas,
Yeah.
Hexes. There's so Kahus. There's so many secondary gunfighters
Mm.
that Pano get, and even what's his name? The Zulu Cobras. They're
Yeah.
BS13 camo. They're fucking amazing. You're absolutely
Yeah.
right. There's
I,
like the secondary gunfighters
that
are
that
as good as like Haq Islam main gunfighters.
Yeah.
that almost makes them, like, as a broad sense, one of probably the, as far as vanilla's concerned, one of the more defensible um
No, because
vanilla
no, because they don't
factions.
get. Nah, they're
No,
not
no, no.
defensible.
I would agree. Okay, I would
They,
agree with that for a different reason, which I'll get to shortly.
Okay.
So now I want to talk about the advantages that going vanilla Pano gives you. The biggest advantage, in my opinion, is Pano is always good at shooting things.
yeah.
But Pano really struggles into null deployments unless you're like Lockie Carter and like here's just Pano Guru.
Sure.
But if they null deploy behind hacking, then even Emo will struggle. Like, Acon can do stuff with climbing plus tick blangs, with dart, with
Argus.
guided missiles, and that's why I think they're so good.
Yeah.
But like most of the Pano factions just sort of twiddle their thumbs into a good null deployment.
Yep.
Not the case with vanilla. Because of your mercs and because of some of your options, especially from Spallerheimer, you get options to attack until another deployment. Like Liang Kai. I love
Yeah,
him.
thanks very much. Yeah, I was waiting for this. It's a big segue to just bring up Lian Kai, put him into
Yeah,
Lost Lieutenant with chain of
yeah,
command and a
yeah,
57-point lieutenant. That was or 50
yeah.
point lieutenant. Yeah. To be honest though, like still looking back on that game, I literally just as soon as I passed turn, I realized my mistake there and then. So still think I could have prevented that alpha strike if I saw it like halfway through my turn. But nonetheless,
Maybe, yeah. But
maybe. But it was
I also
yeah,
definitely handed that game back to you when I didn't just go, cool, Montesa, step on his throat.
exactly right. No, 100%, 100%. So no, really interesting. Okay, so Vanilla Pano. So their biggest strength, just to summarize for our listeners,
Well,
because we covered
okay.
a lot of ground.
Their
Go
biggest
for it.
strengths are one, profile access. They can do everything. Two, I think they're maybe the second or third best faction in the game at supporting tags, and they have amazing tags. Three, they're irregulars. You don't think of it going in, but I think their irregulars are amazing and offer so much. And
Irregular,
also like irregular
irregular.
troops.
Okay, who you name them? So
Helots, motorized
oh,
bounty hunters, the Tech Bee, the Beast Hunter.
nice.
That's the big ones.
Those are the big
Okay.
ones. Yep.
Also the
Okay, fair enough.
Monstrucker,
Because they can because that irregular order's not going to waste for all of them, right? That's the
except
thing.
for the Helot.
Heal. Yeah, okay, the healers.
But like
Use
that's a
Pronto.
9 point. It's a 9 point chance just to ruin someone's day. You don't really
Yeah,
care.
he killed the Shen. So
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
And then and then finally the duos. They have the best duos in the game, hands down.
Okay, nice.
Okay,
So
hold on, hold on, hold
CB
on.
that's how CB balanced the I guess specialist inefficiency.
Yeah.
In the
Okay.
game.
Okay. Before you
Yeah.
say anything, Jacob, I want to ask you what is better than duoing a Tick Balang with a Kahu engineer?
Oh, I'm just gonna take a.
Oh, I got one.
I
Yeah,
mean,
we
Okay.
can
for me, it's always been potential. Well, no, sorry, I wasn't saying hold on because I thought you were wrong. I was saying hold on
Yeah.
because I wanted to take a look at the duos.
They're nuts. They're genuinely nuts.
That's interesting.
I mean, what's it called? What's the blue wolf with Crit Cockrum?
The Cochrane or the
No.
No,
No.
I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of one.
yeah. Sure.
Hey, can you? I don't even know if you can do that.
You can like yes, they're expensive. Yes, they are expensive,
No, you
but
can't.
they have amazing. Yeah, but like yes, the duos are generally on the expensive side.
Hmm.
But stuff like the yeah, yeah.
I was gonna say once you're done, could I just ask a question that we haven't got in the notes? Could you tell the listeners how to use a cutter, like in summary?
Uh,
That's a really that's a piece that a lot of people hate on it, but like I don't know if you
Okay,
agree, but I think it's a really strong piece.
it is
Hard to
very
beat.
strong. I was a cutter anti for so long. I hated cutter. I thought, why would you take it? It's so expensive. The real source is Group 2 Lieutenant Cutter. Because what does the cutter do? It is the baddest motherfucker in the game when it comes to active turn shooting.
You guys got me all sorts of confused because I was like, what are they talking about? The cutter's great, but it's expensive. Gotcha.
Yeah, it's 97 points. Like, the cutter is the baddest motherfucker in the game. Everyone will respect that shit. And then, I don't think the cutter is good in Varuna. But what vanilla Pano has is pieces that want to be up in your opponent's grill, which the cutter basically preys on their predators. The cutter enables the list, not the other way around.
Yeah. I mean,
There's a lot of that in different factions in sorry, Jacob. There's a lot of that in factions in Infinity where you have these pieces that you're like, to make them work, you need another piece in the faction to enable it to do this job.
Exactly. Like
And that's
it's the same. It's the same reason why the Marut is not a good tag for OSS.
I mean,
it does better. It does better in.
It's much better in vanilla.
In vanilla, it's the same thing with Achilles. Achilles is better than vanilla than he is in.
Yeah, exactly.
Spill Planet.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
That's really interesting, actually. Okay, so what are some general tips to use the cutter? Okay, so he's there to win the gunfight and enable the rest of your army. But in terms of, I guess, using him as your lieutenant, do you leave him on ARO? Do you put him back into camo? Do you put him on buildings?
Always put him back into camo. Always put him back into camo.
Always, you have to. You can't. It's not
because, well, that is his major advantage. Like, unless you really need that order, that is his main advantage. The ability to be immune to your opponent's active hacking is fucking gold.
Yeah, okay. Nice.
It's like,
and he can survive the fast panda trick.
Exactly. That's like the whole thing. It's like, I can take the cutter into like the fucking scariest combined army hacking list, like Anathematic, 2 Dark Talks, Bit and Kiss.
Don't give a fuck.
But, yeah.
Why would you run 2 Dark Talks? Why would you even run a Dark Talk? Anyway, but yeah, the market state gives you that.
And you know what it also does? If the table's got a fucking stupid tower where they put fucking Atalanta, move. Do you want to discover me, Atalanta? Oh, you don't? Cool. Move again. Now I'm in 32, and now you fucking die.
I mean, within. Oh yeah. Gotcha. Yeah. No, that's because 5 burst 4 on 15s.
Yeah.
2 on 18s. It's
also,
just a matter of time.
Also, the cutter can genuinely take fights out of cover if it gets a funky line, because you're still effectively fighting an armor 5, min 3, BS 15 multi HMG. That's good enough.
It's with engineers around and with and with camo state, so even if it comes down to 1 wound, you can just fucking
exactly.
Awesome. Very cool.
But you do need to protect it, and you do need to save like the order to save the time to pull back and recamo, or just recamo.
Yeah.
But the biggest advantage. The biggest advantage of the cutter is it makes your opponent spend their last couple of orders every turn going, oh shit, I need to find cover again. Or you just kill them. Like, even if my cutter does nothing all game, but shuffle into a good position.
Well, if he did nothing against me all game, right? So.
But you fucking respected that cutter so much.
I was
like nothing. Like literally, I got to run someone past Major Luna out of cover, and you went, nah, I won't arrow.
No thanks.
It's very close to Pano's version of the Avatar, and the fact that it is the big bad tag that you have to deal with.
Yeah,
it's going to come out. It's going to, at the very least, try and wreck your shop. And if you don't do something to it, all you're going to end up doing is lose orders. He's not going to be losing. Your opponent's not going to be losing orders. And every single turn, it's going to pop out, do something nasty, pop back in.
Yeah.
You can't. You have to balance the list. You can't go forward. That cutter can't go.
No. It can only go forward
Side.
if you've basically won the game and sticking a cutter in the middle in suppressive
Yeah,
is like the nail in the coffin.
yeah,
Or if
exactly
it
right.
no longer needs to live anymore.
Yeah,
Keep that shit back. It shouldn't. I have never had a game where I have not lost horribly and was not decisively winning, where I have ended the cutter past, say, the 17-inch line from my table edge and felt good about it.
Yeah, okay.
Unless it was like in a corner here and the rest of my opponent's army was like on this side.
Yeah,
Yeah, you've never felt good about like putting in the cutter in a position where you're like, maybe
Yeah,
it'll
maybe
be okay. It's like no,
Yeah.
you only ever felt good when he's like he's safe.
Yeah.
What are your opinions on some of the other high-profile Pano models like Joan or Deferzen or I don't know any other Pano, Kahu fullback or
Okay.
yeah.
Kahu fullback is a secondary gunfighter. Unlinked, it should not be fighting other linked teams. Oh, yeah. Also, for context, the way I define a secondary gunfighter is if I would be happy you fighting a core link, you're allowed to be a primary gunfighter.
So I suppose for Pano, I'm going to guess here. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Tags and guards, basically.
Well, I was gonna say the Aquila guard.
Yeah.
Right. Or
basically, all your BS15 stuff is what I would consider our main guns, and maybe if you're doing a weirdish list, some of our Rems and some of our BS14 heavy infantry.
Yeah. Fair enough. So just rattle off for us, maybe and give a sentence why, apart from your tags, which I think it's fair to say that Pano is probably the tag faction, given how many
Yeah.
we have. Outside of the tags, what have been the hard hitting pieces, the ones that are consistent, the ones that if I had to say to you, you don't get to take a tag, build a list, which profiles are you looking to do your heavy lifting for you?
Okay.
As a
Now,
primary gunfighter, like I don't want the
this is
secondary
part of the
one, cream
reason
of the crop.
I left Pano is because I was building too many lists that would just always take the tag.
Yeah.
Because I think there needs to be a really strong reason to not take a Pano tag. But if I'll just go through and rattle them off. Swiss Guard and Aquila Guard, because BS15, Aquila Guard is there if you're like, all right, I need a solution to camo and link teams, and I'll have like a Kahu Feuerbach to take out tag. Swiss Guard, because it's a mini cutter.
Yeah, fair enough. Which gun? Which gun on the Swiss Guard?
All of them are good.
HMG. HMG is the only one that's a primary gunfighter.
Oh, yeah, gotcha. Yeah, gotcha.
All right. I struggle to call one wound pieces primary gunfighters because
you just have that utility. Yeah, you'd have that.
Like I'd probably just not in Pano because you need to be able to fail one face to face. Then also
failure resistant.
Yeah, like it's too easy to just shit, I lose the game then.
Yeah.
Then also whatchamacallit, Knights of the Holy Sepulchre, because the surprise attack and the NCO is good. Also, you can sometimes make sure you get into that range with the Hollow Echoes. Mind clearing is good. Knight Hospitaller HMG in a duo can be cute because suppressing Frenzy, but that's something I'd need to play more before I can recommend.
Yeah.
And that's honestly
What
about
what
it.
about your go-to secondary gunfighters as well? Because that's the main strength of
Okay.
Pano for you.
Montesa Red Furies, Bulletier Spitfires, Nisei HMGs, Kahu Feuerbachs, any of those like medium infantry HMGs. Knight of Justice forward deployment Spitfires.
Yes.
Because stealth, CC, D charges, and a Spitfire.
BTS 9.
Fucking great. Yeah. Armor 5. Hawkwood, I'm convinced, is good despite him underperforming for me. Just looking up through here.
Zulu Spitfire?
Yeah, Zulu Cobras.
Mainly for observers.
Yeah, no, Zulu Cobras, Bolts, because 16s are 16s, Hexes, because Mim 6, that's Canal.
They're all good. They all have a little bit of granularity. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's the whole thing. You get to choose which flavor of gun you use.
Yeah, it's so fucking. Yeah, you're actually making me want to play Pano. That's really, really cool.
And also, So like, yeah. And you can generally afford most of them because unless you're taking a cutter or a Yotum, all your tags are actually pretty cheap. Or an Ula, I guess. But like your tags are pretty cheap for what you get.
Well, yeah, I always thought the
Oh, sorry, one more.
There you go.
Mendoza. Mendoza is a good
Yeah, I was
second.
gonna say.
I was playing Hector. And I was trying out a new list, and I changed it. But
Yeah.
Hector put Mendoza. I think it was because he's like he forward deploys or something or infiltrates.
Yeah, full deployment 8.
Yeah, you just put him there on suppressive, and I was could not get rid of him.
Okay, but now I want to
Fourth player.
segue
Yeah, go on.
into the biggest question in all of Vanilla Pano is to Joan or not to Joan.
Yes,
The
go
whole thing
on,
is,
please.
oh, Joan is so good, gives you all that stuff with the irregulars.
Disagree.
Pano irregulars are great, but they are great even without Joan.
Because
The issue I find with Joan,
you're not a faction.
go.
You're not a faction that spams irregular orders like some other ones. You don't.
You can be.
You
You
can.
definitely can be. Like, I'm generally easily hitting 3 irregulars. A lot of my lists have at least 4.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so continue the thought.
Yeah, so you should take Pano lists with irregulars. You should always take Pano irregulars.
Yep.
You should not always take Joan. Because 3 of the big strengths of Vanilla Pano are amazing NCOs, the duos, and the tags. When you take Joan and a tag, that is so much of your points tied up in that tag. You also have to trade the NCO skill for Joan.
Mm-hmm.
And so then your Kahu become bloated profiles, your Knights of the Holy Sepulchre become bloated profiles, and the Knights of the Holy Sepulchre, they're the first thing I turn to for a main gun that isn't a tag. And when you're taking Joan, it's hard to take a tag.
Yeah.
So, and then also coordinated orders just can't be used in duos. So I think Joan requires a very specific kind of list. Which is stuff like taking multiple warbands that you're gonna want the coordinator order to push them all up with.
Correct. Or coordinator order to get rid of big pieces because you can't afford a main gunfighter along with her because.
Or Mendoza, because Mendoza with the extra order for an Alpha Strike is good. Yeah. Basically, you need to lean hard into the Alpha Strike to get value out of Joan.
But you sort of have to be in the situation, and I agree because I look at this sort of the same as like when I look at like the irregular orders on like a Dog Water or an Ermendino, is I don't need to look at that order as an irregular order because they're going to use it on themselves because they're important. They're important to my game plan, and they need them.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
It's the same thing in what you're describing here. You don't really need Jones's inspiring presence because the irregular orders really aren't.
Yeah, you take Joan for a whip 15 lieutenant and the extra coordinated order. So you take her in Alpha Strike lists because that 15 will help you hit that first turn, and you get the extra order for non-NCO attack pieces, which we get some fucking great ones.
I was gonna say, so your consistent performance throughout your Pano experience have been obviously the tags.
So basically, I have 2 that are just categories, and then I've got 2 others. So the first category is Pano irregulars. They're amazing. They're the glue that holds the faction together.
Sure.
Them and like the other cheap defensive pieces, but they're like standout. I've almost never. The only Pano irregular I've regretted including is sometimes I should have only taken 1 motorized bounty hunter, and I often regret my Warcore if I end up doing that in a Joan list, but that's just because I'm not great with Joan. Then all the tags. Okay, caveat here. I love all the tags except the Yotum, Seraph, and the Ulan. The Yotum, I'm just wrong. I know I am wrong about the Yotum. I just don't think it brings anything unique to Vanilla.
Sure.
Because it's like, I'm paying 13 points for 2 armor. Every other tag, whereas I could pay like 10 points more and I get a cutter. And a cutter is better defended than a Yotum.
Yeah.
Again, I am wrong. Other great vanilla Pano players do good stuff
Really well,
with
yeah.
Jotems.
Well, I'm
The
surprised.
Ulan,
Yeah, what about the
yeah,
Seraph?
yeah.
Sorry, because that's got that Spitfire range, man, which none of your other tags have. So that's unique. That's
I
like
would rather
hackable.
attack with cheaper things
Yeah.
that aren't as vulnerable to hacking. It's
Okay.
like I just think that Spitfire tags need a lot of support to do well, and I would rather the tag enable things and just
Then
win the long range gunfights, which is
then
what it's
having
built to do.
yeah.
Like it's built to take multiple attempts to crack some big high armor piece, not punch down, which is all the Seraph can really do because no AP.
I think
Yes.
I think what does the Seraph the biggest disservice, and it's something kind of minor, is the fact that it's S7.
It's not even that in my opinion. It's not
Well,
even that in my opinion.
It's not the only thing, but being
Yeah.
so large and having such a
It's that much harder to hide.
like underpowered weapon, so to speak.
Yeah.
Like every single other Spitfire wielding
Tag
tag
is
S6.
Is S6. Like if it was 6/6 and S6 and its orc spot was also 6/6, I would take it.
But yeah, I don't know. It just does something unique. So I thought maybe there's some value. But yeah, go on.
Yeah.
And the Ulan,
No.
you said, sorry?
Yeah, the Ulan, it's not enough cheaper, less than a cutter, that losing the lieutenant order, losing 3 points of mimetism, and losing burst 4 AP is worth it.
And
I would like my opinion, at least with vanilla, is I would rather win the gunfight and you guts pro than kill you, but be more likely to die myself.
And also with the I know you've got in this one you've got the camo state, but it's strange because they've almost split the multi HMG apart.
Yeah.
For no benefit to the tag itself. Like
What I think would
they would
if they
almost be
replaced
better
the
off.
regular HMG with something else,
Yeah.
like give it a Spitfire, like a regular Spitfire, the Ulan would see so much more play.
Yeah.
Or I was thinking even how little I was thinking about. I was just saying take away one of the guns and make it as cheap as it really should be.
Oh yeah, no, actually, if they took away the regular HMG and gave it like an SMG, give it an SMG instead of the regular HMG, I would play it because then it's meaningfully cheaper than a cutter. Like that is the thing that does it in. It's not meaningfully cheaper than a cutter. It's 9 points.
It's what? Yeah, 9 points.
Yeah, fair enough.
Okay, with my follow up to this is with the cutter and with a decent amount of listed vanilla Pano, 14 orders is okay because you've got the tag, you've got the active lieutenant order, so it's really 16 orders.
Yeah, it's the same thing if you're playing IA.
Yeah.
If you've only got 12 orders, that's fine. You've got 2 tack awarenesses
and 2 lieutenant.
And 2 lieutenant orders. You've got 16 orders.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
And because unlike IA, it's generally harder to kill your things that give you the extra orders, you're generally in a better spot.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so my second performer with Pano is all the tags, but I want to specifically call out the Tickbalang and the Squallow for their ability to duo is so good. The cutter just being the cutter. And the Dragao is very good in journalist.
In journalist, yeah, okay.
Yeah, because it's not an NCO, it doesn't link, and it's still burst 3 as the spearhead of the coordinated order.
Yeah, that's huge. That's so big.
Yeah,
and looking at its profile, its profile is more like what you'd want on the Ulan, the hypermagnetic cannon range, heavy flamethrower.
Break the game, maybe.
Right, something like that on the Ulan,
yeah, basically.
Now, one thing throughout this interview, one thing I got from you, Ivory, you're obviously a very analytical player in terms of obviously you deep dive profiles, deep dive the rules. Now, in your experience of Infinity, be it Pano or any faction, have there been any profiles that you've read and be like, and then put on the table and be like, have any profiles surprised you positively?
Econ regulars, sorry. Yeah, a Continental regulars.
read them, you're like, yeah, okay, and then you put them, you're like,
Like that 1 point of BS, that 13.0 Swick mine layer, and that for 1 point more than a Fusilier hacker, you get 1 point of whip, a grenade launcher, and a fast panda.
Yeah, that's just fucking utility out the hoo-ha.
Yeah, no, genuinely, Acon regulars best line infantry in the game, and being able to take 2 in vanilla, I genuinely always take them. Always take 2 of them. One mine layer, one hacker.
They certainly
That
do, like,
profile.
at first glance, read boring, but once you get into them, they're certainly...
It's just so much value. Okay. All right. So, Jordan.
Yeah.
So, by premier tags, do you mean, like, the Maruts, the avatars? I'm trying to think, do any other factions have premier tags, or is it just CA and LF?
ALF and Pano.
Nomads?
Nomads would. Yeah, Nomads do.
Okay.
Yeah, Nomads do.
But
I don't think it's fair to compare the Gator or the Sally to the Cutter, because the Cutter does a different thing to them. I would compare the Gator and the Sally to our 70-ish point tags, and I think we just clearly come out ahead. But Nomads edges out Pano because it does non-tag and tag support things better than Pano. Like access to smoke, access to eclipse, better warbands, and better hacking. It doesn't support and defend tags as well as Pano does, but it does better non-tag things.
Very nice.
So I would say the only real comparisons, I think the Cutter is better than the Marut, because the Marut is 2 points more, and in many, many cases, the Marut is not worth more than...
The Marut, unfortunately, reads, like we were talking about how the Acon Cemento regulars read boring, but are actually really interesting. The Marut, as much as I love her, reads the other way. She reads really interesting, but when you put her on the tab, you're like, oh, I paid a lot of points for MSV2 that I never get to use.
Like, okay, the big issue to me is, like, if a Marut is suppressing or acting as a reactive piece, it is no better than generally... Okay, I see what you're saying about the Marut, Jordan, but I think across all factions, the Marut generally suffers, because even in like fucking Hak Islam, the premier built like cheap stuff, good stuff faction, I think the Marut will suffer from, yes, I am a BS15 MSV2 gun. I am still not much better than a basic boring Pano tag in reactive turn, but I'm the lieutenant, but it's hard to afford chain of command, and so it's even more all in than the Cutter, and you don't get as much of a get fucked. You don't get to have an active ARO presence.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No,
and the Avatar is much more expensive. You don't have the points for a second gunfighter, and is extreme. Yeah, and it's extremely telegraphed.
Yes,
so I think it's easier to. So Avatar lists are very much, they turn into, can you kill the Avatar's supporting cast early? So if we take Summer's Avatar lists, right, from when he won Nova Corps, if you could kill Morkius, he kind of just died. And he said so himself. And whenever I was trying to build the Avatar, there was like 2 things. They also just die.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Because if you...
A very long time ago, we had actually an episode sort of about one of our older hosts, Julian, was talking about it, where, and it's still the same to this day, where Avatar lists are about supporting the Avatar.
Yeah.
Right. While as you were mentioning, the Cutter lists is the opposite. The Cutter list is about the Cutter supporting its list.
Okay. It's about it's about what can the Cutter do for your list.
Yeah.
And that could be, it's a massive Rambo with Marker State, or it could be it's supporting stuff going forwards. I think the latter is more effective.
Yeah.
But and with Jordan, with regards to Morat tags, I think they are fine.
They're great. No, they're both really good.
But
This is a
Morat's
more
strength,
episode,
yeah, but
unfortunately.
Morat's strengths leave you basically you can't take Morat tags without compromising what's unique about Morats. So I would rather run them in vanilla combined.
It's the same thing as a lot of tags. They're just better in the
yeah. It's like the cutter. I would not run the cutter in Varuna. I would definitely run the cutter in vanilla because
Now,
Varuna needs the points.
just
Morats needs the
moving
points.
on, just because
Yeah.
what's the name? Just quickly. The next question I had is just one of the last things. I guess Pano and otherwise. So when you're using
Yeah.
Pano or when you're playing Infinity in general, what do you dread facing? Like, be it faction or unit?
Okay, so specifically for Pano, so Phoenix, fucking Phoenix. I despise facing Phoenix. Literally, one of my concerns for List 2 of Cancon was, all right, if I come against a Steel Phalanx player, can I solve Phoenix?
So what makes Phoenix a problem?
Mim 6 smoke. Because a lot of Pano's best gunfighters...
He's getting in your shitty range bands.
No. You cannot put him down as an ARO piece. It's like you pull your tag out, cool. He throws smoke twice on 16s. You have 4 9s. Have fun.
Gotcha.
That's right,
It's like
you go
then
after him with a Kahu, he might actually shoot back and win.
Yeah, it's what. Well, I mean, a Kahu's fine at taking him. It's just
good, yeah.
You need to take pieces to deal with him.
Yeah, you need
also
also
specific. Also, the other thing that I fear going like this. Okay, this is less things I fear, but this is other stuff. I don't really fear anything as Pano, except Toha, but that's just because inexperience. It's like unfamiliar.
Yeah.
It's like I haven't played enough against them to be confident in the matchup. You have to have a plan to respect hacking. You have to have a plan to respect Rambos, and you have to have a plan to respect tag predators. And you have to have a plan for your tag getting double crit by a fucking Kaitok Feuerbuck and going straight to unconscious too.
Beautiful. Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. But in terms of like specific units, so just Phoenix and
McCalls, Phoenix and McCalls, basically.
McCalls are fucked. Yeah. That ability to just disappear and you can't touch me with the Eclipse.
Yeah. Like Toha is very frustrating. I would not like Spiral Core is fine. It is specifically the fact that good zero viz and good CC on a wide range of units is scary as fuck. Less so with Aleph because generally the stuff is expensive enough that it's not as bad a trade.
Fair
I noticed, and it's just something that we had. I just noticed absent. This talk about Pano. No, you've got no fear of CC.
No, because I get good CC units. That's why I play vanilla. I get Liang Kai, I get Knights, I get Motorized Bounty Hunters, I get Beast Hunters. Like, I get units that can CC, and like the only real scary things with CC that aren't gonna come in and delete my shit is like walking into close combat with a tag, and then it's like, cool, my Motorized Bounty Hunter gets gang up bonuses, and I've got a Para Weapon -6, or cool, I can just shoot you off with a combi rifle, which is just gonna bounce off my tag, or I can walk Liang Kai up to you and just explode you with burst 2 on 26s.
Yeah, exactly right. Now that's very cool, very cool. Any last thoughts that you want to add? That was anything you want else? What you want to say about Pano?
Yes.
Or
Okay.
TTS Go for it.
So yeah, about TTS not much, but about Pano, I think that they're genuinely a really good faction. More people should give them a try, and the fact of their ability to leverage tags and stuff that is very good when there is not tags in the way. This is specifically about vanilla. Is a major strength this edition, and their specialists aren't as bad as they used to be. Yeah. Also, Liang Kai's fucking 21 points.
One thing that we hadn't asked that I noticed is when you chose to do Pano, Pano. Do you like the look of Pano? This is not a criticism or
Uh,
anything like that. I just
mm,
wanted to prompt the
I don't.
question.
Yeah, I don't know. I think almost every CB mini looks nice, and I do more or less enjoy how the Pano stuff looks.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there are definitely better factions aesthetically, and to be honest, I do look at factions more as rules than
Yeah.
aesthetics because
Yeah,
how they play is quite important.
because I
Because
Yeah.
think
that's
I think that is a big difference between your attitude towards Finity and like at least mine, and I think even Val's is we'll play the most garbage things just because we like to look at them. I really want to give Jujax a try. They're shit.
well,
Just a
I
great. They're not
I'll
garbage.
happily play garbage things if they're fun garbage.
Yeah.
Like, it's less about strength. It's more about will I enjoy playing
Yeah. Trying to make this work.
with like yeah
Yeah.
with the assumptions and the rules of engagement that this faction wants to play in. Do I enjoy that space?
Yeah,
Like
yeah, no,
I
fair
just
enough.
can't really see myself playing. Let's see if I think I would.
Ariadna doesn't
I
sound
think
like you.
no. I don't.
Right.
I would struggle playing. Sorry, I reckon I would very much struggle playing Assassin Baran, just
Fair
because
enough.
of the lack of hammer pieces and also like the lack of ability to just go, here is my tag, get fucked.
Yeah. Very
And
different
also
mechanic. Yeah.
yeah, and also I don't know.
I think JSA are a faction I really want to try.
Yeah, and
But
I
yeah, they're a completely
also
different place to what you're doing at the
I
moment.
played a little bit of JSA and I did genuinely enjoy them because the Ivory, great tag.
Okay, I would not touch the tag in JSA at all. But that's me. But it's not about me. We've been going for quite a while. Let's just take 15 minutes to give you a chance to maybe shout out and recap your Cancon. So shout out 4 out of the 5 players that you faced,
Yeah.
and give us some highlights or yeah, just give us an overview of the event. In terms
All
of
right.
your list, maybe it's already posted in our list
Yeah, my
discussion.
list's already posted.
Yeah, so people can look at there.
I'll spend like 2 minutes talking through both the lists. So,
Sure.
so yeah. So the first list was I've been messing around the cutter, so I decided, I'll take it to Cancun. Bit of a gear check, and so it could lead to sometimes just I will have a definite advantage because they do not have a cutter answer, and that was the case for quite a few. Like for like the first game was definitely one where the cutter made things a lot easier, and then like the list I built around it, so it was like it ended up being 14 orders just because like I couldn't fit everything. I wanted 15. Like list 1 is pretty simple. Cutter is in group 2, kills arrows, the Ankai and the bike, and just everything that just moves forwards and engages.
That's
And
everything group 1. Everything that moves forward and engages is group 1, and then cutter group 2.
yeah, and then there's the Beast Hunter. If they like really, really null deploy, I can like sacrifice the Beast Hunter to achieve something. Yeah, I can sacrifice the Beast Hunter in order to
Jacob,
achieve
you're a
something.
legend. Nice. Just
Yeah.
zoom in when you get a chance. Just 'cause,
Um,
maybe just my screen.
Yeah. Also, yeah. Yeah. Also, let me just. Yeah. Also, the Auxilia is a dummy lieutenant. Paid dividends just as a bot. The Knight of Montesa used to be Hawkwood, but then the bike changes hit. As like Hawkwood's been annoying me. The ability to just go fast seemed
Fast.
I saw this and I saw this and I was like, my man, the Knight of Montesa is such a good bike right now.
It's so
Yeah,
good, man.
The biggest thing
I've
I'll
been
point it out.
rambling
I've pointed
about
out
that
before,
phase.
and I'll point it out again. It's the only one that when it's dismounted, it still keeps its
Still gets
mimetism.
And the
That thing's
Aragos
fucked.
is
I,
2.
I was talking about that thing as being fucked back in the last season where it was just the bike
Yeah, but
change.
it's
I'm
just
like,
it's
this
just
season,
extra fucked now.
yeah, I
Yeah.
used to say it's very balanced, right?
Mm.
It's still balanced, but just very balanced.
Yeah.
So that, yeah, and
Yeah.
then they carried it over, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, that thing's
Yeah, and then the irregulars are just in group 2 because this list does sometimes want to spend more orders than it can on the cutter.
yeah, okay.
And the reason that I left it 9 and 5 is because sometimes there are games you win by just dumping the cutter in group 1, turning your brain off, and just spending 12 orders shooting.
That's a good point. Having 9 and 5 or 9 and 6 is an important balance for me. I don't do 10 and 5 anymore, simply to give me the option to move something from
Mm.
Group 2 to Group 1 in case I need
I
to.
do 10 and 5 with Joan lists, but that's just because I think Joan lists need to alpha.
Yeah,
And,
fair enough.
So
Okay.
and
what was your second list?
so my second list was it was called Double Double, and it was based on two duos. One was the Squallow NCO and the Knight of Santiago Hacker, and then it was a motorized bounty hunter duo. Now, this list did end up being 10 and 5 because the Squallow Knight of Santiago duo is a duo that can genuinely do anything in the game except fight a Mim 6 piece. Like, so just being able to dump 12 orders into that duo came in really clutch in the one game I played it because, so this list was designed to cover the weaknesses of the other list.
Okay.
And
Very
what I was afraid of is if in cryogenics, I thought my opponent had a good way to assassinate the Teutonic Specialist, who was my Master Breacher in cryogenics. If I was playing what I thought would have good access to Mim 6 arrows, also for unmasking, because I wanted the specialist bonus for unmasking really badly. And also if I just had like a super open table where I just wanted all the orders on a tag to just go unga bunga.
nice. Very, very cool. Right, okay, so round 1 was obviously acquisition.
Round one was
So
acquisition. I played the
list.
cutoff into a Tunguska player. I don't remember his name. He was a lovely guy. The list just did what it did. Turn 1, peeked out with the cutter, killed 2 snipers he had on Overwatch. Then I just threw the bike at him. Bike didn't do anything, and then I just repositioned and I pushed one button. He replied, didn't do much. Cutter killed stuff again, pushed
You
more
have a
buttons.
5-man Hollow Man league?
No, he
That's
was
on David.
So basically, end of my turn 2, the cutter is up on suppressive fire. Most of his shit is dead. Like, a lot of his stuff is dead. He ends up, but because I went first, basically, I claim all 3, push the buttons, but he manages to sneak in and push both the buttons. So I ended up push one of the buttons. So I end up and denying one. So it ends up being 6-3 my way. Both the
Oh,
class 5.
wow. Okay, so he actually,
Yeah,
he
well
has
done
a
for him on that comeback.
Yeah, he
Oh,
pulled it
wow.
back, but it's like, yes, the cutter is doing what it wants. Second game, another Tunguska player. It was
Oh,
unmasking.
really? Another Tunguska.
Yeah,
Was
but
it Dave? Did you play Dave at all?
did he? I don't know. He was playing a
Escalani?
list with a Grenza sniper, Tixalon, Fiddler, and a bunch of Rems.
Nah, no. Wow, that's another. Okay, yeah, go on, sorry.
Yep. So basically, I almost put him into retreat turn 1. My Squallow, because he just had a lot of stuff up. I threw my tag at the stuff. Liang Kai ran up the flank, killed
Yeah,
Fiddler,
okay.
killed a bunch of bots, and then just sort of stood there. Tag retreated to cover, and then it's just like, cool.
Brutal.
Here's what's the marksmanship? His Grenza died
Yeah.
to an explosive arrow,
Yeah, okay. It was all over turn
and then
one.
it was, and then he was in retreat by the start of my turn 2, and this is where the duo came in clutch. I reformed the duo, and then they just spent 12 orders pushing 3 buttons and killing
Yeah.
2 of his designated targets.
Yeah, very nice. So that was, what was that in the end?
That was a 9-1 win because I didn't get to 9-0 wins.
Okay, gotcha. No, well done.
And
Okay,
then
right.
and
So
then
would
there
you
was
say the first 2 games are gear checks or?
no. The first 2 games was seal clubbing. Like, I don't want to
Yeah,
be
okay.
rude, but like,
Yeah, but okay, yeah. So just the difference in
like,
like.
yeah, a Hellot killed a task. Hellot killed a Creaser that walked in front of it. I was like, you know this is a Hellot, right? It's like, yeah, I'll probably tank it. He did not tank it.
Yeah, no. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, gotcha. All right.
And then
Game 3.
game 3, I played Val, and it was,
Mhm.
I think it was my favorite game all of Cancon.
Yeah,
Great
so
back and
you on the show?
no, yeah. So like Val, I was like,
I'll protect you, Ivory. Tell him the truth. Tell him he's garbage.
no, I genuinely love this game. So I won the role, took deployment. I was like, all right, come get me, Val. Val sort of just grabbed 2 boxes, did nothing. I was like, okay, you sure about that? So I just proceeded to step on his neck with the Ankai and a motorized bounty hunter.
Did.
And so Val's in loss. His big gun's dead. I'm like, cool. Val basically passes turn. Now, this is where my inexperience starts to show. It's like, all right, I'll just grab a box. I can kill something in turn 3. What I should have done is just YOLO'd the Montesa at one of his boxes, tried to take the box and run to the other corner of his DZ, or just run back towards my side of the field. Just bet on the fact that he didn't have the orders to grab it, then bunker down, and protect my sensor bot to grab one of my boxes, and protect the Teuton to go forward to kill whatever killed my Montesa.
Yeah.
Instead,
exactly.
I faffed around, set up a defensive network, grabbed one box, so Val was able to just hunker down. So I was like, oh shit, I need to just kill one thing because my Beast Hunter was able to do both my classifieds.
Mhm.
And so I ran the Montesa over. I did play. Yeah, I did play Dave.
Yeah, I thought
Yeah,
so.
I
Cool.
thought it. Yeah, it was a bit of a seal clubbing. I
Yeah,
felt a
that's
little bit bad.
That's fine.
I think we were the first game done.
Yeah, fair enough. Sounds like you really underestimated Mr. Ployd. But yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
So then basically, I genuinely think one of the best moments of Infinity I have ever seen played. That ninja, like the discipline you had with that ninja, is unironically one of the best plays I've seen. And I'm not doing that to just try and praise you. Like it was like genuinely mad respect.
It was very hard when Lian Kai is literally dancing on him as he's killing my lieutenant, my chain of command, and my HMG.
I reckon you would have lost the game if you'd revealed him early.
Absolutely, yeah, I knew that. I'm like, even if I reveal, even if I'm on a 14 with a shock ammo round, if I miss or I fail, what's his name, or you pass.
Well, you'd only
armor
be on
tag-
an 11 because I got
Yeah, your
mimetism.
mimetism, exactly right.
And
yeah,
I'm dodging on a 16.
or you trade and you get rid of the one thing that can deal with your
Yeah.
your cutter.
Yeah.
Right? So
No.
I'm like, no. And then the only thing I'm lucky about is that you didn't, when you came after the Shen, you didn't go further forward and clip him and Luna with a template.
Oh yeah.
I don't think you had the orders or the
No,
movement.
no. I
Yeah,
did
if you clip
because I
both,
got into
template.
CC and I got into range and then bang, and then because if I had the orders to do that, I would have just spent it putting the Shen all the way to dead.
Exactly right. Yeah, exactly right. But to be fair, the Shen did nothing. Like even after reviving him, he went for a run and he died to a hell lot. Like he
I
literally just
think
got like.
he only did nothing because I got a little bit lucky.
But I didn't need him to push him forward. I didn't need to go past halfway. With
Yeah.
him. I should just bunker down
Yeah.
further.
All right, you two grandmothers, you've caught up enough.
No. Yeah. It was,
what was your fourth
and
game?
then so my fourth game was Ed Spiral Corp. I was nervous because I was 3-0, and I just made the most dumb decision I've ever done. Because the table, I fucking
Which
deployed
list?
my
Which list did you run against? Ed?
the cutter list.
Beautiful.
I ended up deploying my fucking Montesa Red Fury in the cutter's gut spot, so I got smoke shot to death.
Ah, yeah.
I ended up almost eking out a draw that game. I lost by like 1 or 2 points on consoles in Supremacy, but it was just like, God.
Right.
It was
So,
just deeply. It was
Yeah.
just like, it was frustrating because it's like, oh, there's not many bike spots, and it's annoying because I knew the risk with that list because I'm taking three S4 sized bases and three S3 sized bases because the S7 2 bikes and then 3 bots is cool. I sacrificed the 9-point bounty hunter because going second it's not as valuable. But instead I ended up giving him my lieutenant turn 1. And like that was just and then
So just to explain to listeners, so you had a piece of terrain where you had the cutter peeking out in the marker state.
Yeah, in the marker
next to it,
state.
you had the bike there as well behind that same piece of cover. So when Ed came and he threw smoke and then shot.
So what he did is he discovered me and he got the discover with a Greif. Then he shot me with
sacrificed the Greif to do it effectively.
No, the Greif discovered to break impersonation, then killed my engineer, and it survived doing it. It survived getting shot by Lian Kai, shot by the Montesa as well.
Sure.
So just survived everything. Frustrating.
Very frustrating.
And then
so that
he
revealed your cutter. And then what did this? So what did you use for smoke?
And then the then he threw smoke from the one that can do Eraser and Mirror Ball.
Okay, sure.
And then
do smoke as well. Okay, sure, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, because he's got a smoke grenade launcher.
The Kriegel.
Then it was the Tagma schema.
Yeah, the Kriegel agent. Tagma schema, just viral sniper, just pure.
S3.
Yeah.
Just bang, 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 bang.
Yeah, just spent like 3 or 4 orders just killing it all the way to dead.
not that. Is that? Oh, because it's armor
8.
9,
The BTS 6, 9 in cover.
9 in cover against damage 15, double
Yeah.
action.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
because he spent 2 or 3 orders putting it unconscious, and then he killed it all the way to dead just to make sure.
Yeah. So I should have taken like 6, 7 orders.
No, it's about as many orders as it should take because I'm
Yeah,
shooting
fair
through
enough.
smoke.
Never mind.
Remember?
Never mind. But yeah, even dodging. Yeah. Anyway, whatever. Yeah, that's cool. Well done, Ed.
Well,
He's a good
it's
player.
like, well, the issue is there's no point in me dodging. I have to hope that I just crit him
Okay.
because
What are you
he'd.
shooting back on?
I'm shooting back on a 9.
And dodging on 11.
Yeah, but like the issue is
I
he's
wouldn't make a
happy to spend 10 orders doing that because he's putting me in loss.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Because like, well, even if he doesn't put me in loss, it's still the big gun I have that he could see.
Yeah, fair enough. Nah, cool. So yeah,
Like,
really. So, and that was sorry, that was supremacy.
yeah, and then cryogenics, I played the Victorian Acontecimento player,
Sure.
and it was just
Right.
yeah,
They
and it's just
played
like
Bill.
yeah, and
Oh shit.
I kind of just stepped on his neck a little bit. Like he took a list, he had like 3 pieces that could go forward. A lot of it was dependent on Scylla, and Scylla was his master breacher. He just
Yeah.
couldn't do much because I really bunkered down. He only pushed 2 buttons. It's like cool. Liang Kai kills Scylla, and then I'm just on the front foot for the rest of the game.
Yeah, brutal. Yeah, that's really interesting. Okay, so you would have known everything that he had, right? Just like memory.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
Nice.
I thought his Naga was Dart, but then he revealed that on his first turn.
Okay, so the one uncertainty you had as you revealed. Awesome. And
Yeah.
overall, how did you enjoy the IGL? I
Oh,
guess Cancon to IGL.
I enjoyed Cancon much more than I have the online tournaments, just because the online tournaments, they don't feel like a tournament, and there's not the
Yeah,
social aspect, which I do really value.
camaraderie and stuff like that. Yeah.
Exactly, like getting to meet you guys, getting to meet Jordan, getting to spend more
Yeah.
time with the Sydney boys, getting to actually meet Lachlan Summer in person instead of just playing games with him.
Yeah. Oh, you played
Getting
Lock and Summer online.
Yeah, I played a couple games of TTS with
That's
him.
awesome. I love. Yeah, my first game was
Yeah,
Lachlan, by the way. So yeah,
yeah, and
my first.
also getting to finally meet Lockie Carter after all our arguments about Pano.
Really have you? That's great.
Yeah,
That's
because
awesome.
we have different opinions on how Pano should be played.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's yeah. I got different opinions to everyone how Infinity should be
Yeah,
played, but that's fine.
that's fair.
I
Like,
still sleep. I still go to sleep.
but yeah, no,
Uh,
probably my consistent performers from Cancon were the Ankai and the Motorized Bounty Hunter. They're the tag team from hell. They did so much every game.
okay.
Also,
Yeah, because it's a 1-2 punch. It really is a 1-2
yeah,
punch. Because
it's just
you're in my CSU, and then yeah, no, I got you.
yeah, it's like you have one template that's scary. No, you don't anymore. And it took me one regular order to do that.
Correct. Awesome.
Exactly. Yeah. Also, meeting Jordan was great.
Can we fucking? I don't know why. And everyone like you and fucking Rob like Jordan. Like, what the fuck? Like, I've known this guy for
Okay.
12
Okay.
months. I wouldn't
Jordan.
piss on him.
Jordan.
I wouldn't piss on him if he was on
Jordan.
fire.
Jordan and I. Yeah. Jordan and I. We both have Whip 12 episodes about our factions that we heavily disagree with massive sections of, and we both started on TTS, and I call
Which
this
faction are
for
you talking about? What faction are you talking
Vanilla.
about?
ALF and Vanilla Pano. There's a Whip
I
12
was gonna
episode
say
about Vanilla
Morat. I'm
Pano.
like, no, I'm like, it
No.
better not be the Morat episode.
No. No. I mean, I have my opinions on the Morat episode, but no.
Oh, we can talk about it another time.
Yeah, we'll have to do that later.
For
You
sure.
should get
for sure.
Jordan on as well, and we can all shit talk Morats.
Yeah, I don't know if
I won't be part of that episode. I don't want.
Yeah,
I
no,
don't
do it-
want to be driven insane.
Yeah, fair
Okay.
enough, mate. Awesome.
All right. Well,
All right. Thank you, Ivory. Thank you very much. Jacob, do you have any other questions for Ivory before we wrap up? I guess.
no, it's the most comprehensive sort of discussion I think I've ever heard of Pano. So thanks a lot.
That was awesome. I really love that secondary gunfighter like strength. That's the strength. That's I think
Yeah,
you're
that's
definitely
the
onto
strength of
something there.
Pano, and the strength of Vanilla is like the non-Pano-ness. The fact that you have things other than guns.
Yeah, you get to balance out that weakness quite well.
Yeah, the close combat experts and the CC guys.
Yeah,
and the
I
hacking.
think one good thing that you've done, Ivory, is obviously dispelled sort of the old notion that you're gonna have a hard time with objective and rolling the dice
Yeah.
for like any sort of
No.
word test. Is that Pano don't like they don't fill they fill the role of the lowest average whip, but they don't fill the role of a we can't press buttons. And
Yeah, like I would unironically say that Pano is better at pushing buttons than Toha and Ariadna, solidly.
yeah, no, I wouldn't argue with you on that.
Ermendinho's, man. I'm sorry, but Ermendinho's
Okay,
and
I get a
Ringwood are-
Teuton specialist, which is a 2-wound Ermendino. That's
Nah,
faster.
you don't get smoke, brother. You don't get smoke.
Yeah, and I got a cutter. I
Okay.
don't need smoke. I got a cutter.
I didn't mean to start an argument between you two.
Anyway,
But no,
anyway.
that is a weakness that you have to compensate, and is why I think secondary gunfighters and tags are so important in Pano. The lack of zero viz.
Yeah.
Like
Nah.
the two real weaknesses of Pano are lack of zero viz and lack of projection of aggressive hacking. We
Yeah.
have good hackers. We struggle to project hacking.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, and
That makes sense.
all right. Well, thank you everybody for listening. Thank you, Ivory, very much for putting up for us for probably almost about 3 hours now.
Oh, that's so good.
Nice.
I have been Jacob,
Valerie.
Ivory,
and you've been listening to Loss of Lieutenant.
outro music.